Welcome one and all to the latest Eyes Up Mother Brown. Tonight we are coming live directly from our homes in the suburbs, not Allen Road or Yorkshire at all. But that's where West Ham are this evening to tackle Leeds United in our latest Premier League encounter. We are running very late. And I've got some feedback. Sorted that out. My apologies. Amateur stuff. It's been a bit like that today, everybody. I'm running very late. My apologies. The team have been waiting.
I thought you said when you had some feedback, people were already tweeting you're fat and bald.
Get off, son. Get off. I am joined, of course.
There goes the final whistle.
Sorry, no.
And there goes the final whistle.
That's it. Yeah, we're done. Let me introduce my team. Not that they need any introducing. I'm sure those of you that join us on a regular basis are aware of who we all are by now, but I'm joined, of course, by Gnome, by Rio, and by the absent-minded Pink Palermo tonight. So it is a happy foursome that join you for this evening's game at Ellen Road. We are, of course, looking for 3 points to push us back up into the top five. We don't want to tempt fate as we did last week when we were briefly third. But I've probably already done that. So I'm going to pass you straight over to Gnome, who's going to give us the teams. Gnome, over to you, buddy.
Cheers. Well, a couple of changes. One on the pitch, and one that nobody seems to have noticed on the bench. But Arthur Masuaku's just had a knee op. We wish him all the best. Ben Rama comes in to replace. So we start with Fabianski, Kufal, Balbuena, Ogbonna, excuse me, Cresswell, Souček, Rice, Bowen, Fornals, Ben Rama, and Haller. And on the bench, Diop's missing. Not sure what's happened to him. And he's replaced by the lesser spotted Craig Dawson. So on the bench, we have Lanzini, Snodgrass, Dawson, Noble, Fredericks, Johnson, and Randolph. Excuse me again. Moving over to our hosts for the evening, Leeds United. Got a few injury problems themselves. They start with Meslier, Dallas, Ayling, Cooper, Alioski, Phillips, Dias Beloli, Clich, Harrison, and Bamford. There you go.
Excellent. And with perfect timing, I've just finished sending the links out to the appropriate places. So we are about 7 minutes or so away from kickoff. Let's start, as we always do, by going through the teams. Gnome, any surprises? I mean, the big one we were looking at there was who was going to replace Masuaku, of course. And that role has gone to Said Ben Rama. What are your thoughts on that one, buddy?
Once we'd heard that Masuaku was under the knife, so to speak, that is the change that I would have thought would have been made. It's how he went when he changed things around at the interval against Villa the other week, when Masuaku came off and Ben Rama came on. So no surprise there. I haven't a clue. It's really just sprung on me, the issue with Diop. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. Yeah. But there you go. We are about to discover that Craig Dawson does, in fact, exist.
The lesser spotted Craig Dawson, of course. Yeah. Has he been on the bench before? I think he was he on the once or twice? Okay.
I can't recall him being on the bench, but
righto.
No doubt some of our more observant viewers, listeners, readers, whatever, will pick this up and will be aware. Yeah, but I don't remember him being there.
Okay, well, the potential there for a debut for Craig Dawson tonight should something happen to one of the starting lineup. Rio, good to see you, buddy. Said Ben Rama, good move or a bad one?
I'm excited to see what he can do for us. I think a lot of people are, actually. Yeah. My only worry is, I know Arthur's got his defensive deficiencies, but he does bring us balance in that side, doesn't he, down that left-hand side? And I don't think Said has got a lot of defensive nows. I'm not completely convinced we're going to line up with the 3-4-3 as we have been doing.
Okay,
I think there's a possibility that we could just go for a flat back four there, to be honest. Okay. Which to me would make more sense. But if it's wing back, then I worry that we're going to be a bit exposed on that left-hand side.
We struggled a bit, didn't we, against Villa? I think we came on at half time and, had that instant impact. And then we sort of was under the cosh for most of the second half. And I think we sort of attributed that partly, didn't we, to Ben Rama and the fact that he wasn't tracking back as much. Is that likely to be an issue tonight? Or, it's going to be a bit of a gung-ho game, isn't it? This one, both teams like to go forward and score. So maybe Moyes is sort of just looking at the attacking options and perhaps sort of throwing caution to the wind a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd probably be even a bigger problem than in the Villa games. Leeds are a very young, fit side. They work their nuts off from minute 1 to minute 94. There's a lot of attacking intent. And I think we could get really badly exposed. So I'm excited to see Sai play, but I'm much rather him be as part of a much further forward role rather than in defence or as wing back.
Yes, well, we'll see exactly how that turns out. No doubt within a couple of minutes, our eagle-eyed panel here we'll be able to figure out exactly what formation we're playing. The absent-minded Pink Palermo joins us again, back in front of the screen tonight, buddy. Good to see you again from the start this week.
Good evening, and this is the game all season that I was going to most look forward to actually going to. We've not been to Ellen Road that often in the last 20 years.
Yep.
And it has certainly been a game not to miss. But, the way things are, I'm not sure if they've got people in there tonight, maybe a couple of thousand. But for me tonight, we'll have the all-out attack set up from Bielsa. They will throw everything forward. And it just might create the space in behind them for Ben Rama to exploit. So we know he's going to be rubbish defensively for us. I mean, absolutely, you may as well lean on Messi at centre half for all the defensive quality that Ben Rama is going to bring to the lineup. But sometimes, just sometimes, you have to impose your game on the opposition and just create them a few more problems than they're going to create for us. So they'll chuck everything forward. Reading through the forum marching on together, the Leeds United one, the player they most fear, the Leeds supporters, is Bowen. And clearly they'd know a lot of him from the Championship, where Leeds have spent most of the last 20 years because they're rubbish. Sorry, that just slipped out all of a sudden. but they fear Bowen. In general, there's a lot of complimentary comments on the Leeds United forums about West Ham United. So fair play to them.
Makes a change.
They're nervous tonight.
I might just raise a point there.
Sure.
You mentioned earlier on would the absence of excuse me, of Arthur result in a change of formation? That precise question was actually put to David Moyes a few minutes ago. While they were sort of just getting warmed up on the telly there. He kind of dodged the answer. Make of that what you will, but they've mentioned Ben Rama, and he said, this will obviously mean a change on that side, but will it mean a change of shape as well? And Moyes instantly turned the subject onto how much he was looking forward to Ben Rama playing. So it may do, it may not.
Interesting.
I've got a sort of the way they've got it lined up as a 4-4-1-1 there. So we wait and see.
Okay, we will indeed.
Rio, have changed the setup twice. So they started with the 3-4-3, then they went to a flat back 4. So I'm not sure anyone's quite clear how we're going to play. I mean, is this total football from West Ham tonight? I mean, forget the basic formation. Just give us the ball and we're going to score. That's how it's going to be.
We'll score one more than you. Yeah, we shall see indeed. Are we expecting goals tonight, Rio, here?
Yeah, there's a couple of people on the forum who've quoted the exact same thing. There's been a 4-3 victory been quoted to us. Everyone thinks it's going to be an absolute goal fest. There's a little bit of apprehension of where it's going to go, but absolute nailed on goal fest, allegedly. So 0-0, here we come.
Yeah, no doubt. Pinky, I'm really looking forward to this game tonight. I mean, two teams that, you know, have got goals in them and not particularly brilliant defensively at times. So I'm sort of hoping for a bit of an old-fashioned 5-all, like, you know, a la Chelsea 1965. I mean, do you see it going that way, or are you know, do you think we're going to get a bit of a surprise here and might sort of not get too many goals?
I think there'll be goals galore tonight. I think Bielsa is totally committed to
get off
taking the ball forward. I think we'll play more on the break, but I think there's certainly going to be goals tonight. And you know, fair play to Leeds. You know, they've come up from the Championship, and none of this parking the bus, none of this cling on for a point. They're going for wins every single week. And if I was a Leeds United supporter, I'd be turning up at Ellen Road going, I quite like watching us lot. You know, so I think we're in for a good game tonight, and we're 46 seconds with me.
Yeah, same with me, Pinky. So we're on the same time.
You know,
I'm a long, long way behind you tonight, guys. So any contentious issues or replays, I'll be right there to tell you what's going on. We are underway. Should we have a quick prediction? No, what do you want to go for score-wise tonight? What do you think?
I think it'll be goals. I think 2-2, an entertaining 2-2.
2-2. Rio, what about yourself?
I'm going 3-2 Leeds.
Oh, 3-2. That's the first prediction of a defeat we've had on here for a while, isn't it? I think we've all been really confident lately. We shall see. Pinky, what about yourself, buddy?
Yeah, I ain't having that from Rio. 3-2 at the famous West Ham tonight, and I tell you what, you know, we're gonna look double mustard tonight. That's how it's gonna be.
Well, let's hope you're right. I'm going to go for 1-1 just to buck the trend in and hope we take. Well, you know, it's always a good to get a point on the road, I suppose. Is it? You know, whatever the opposition, whoever you're playing. But we are underway. As Gnome said, you will be just coming up to 2 minutes on your streams, gentlemen.
Oh, Leeds are in here. They're in here. Oh, that's got to be a penalty, surely.
Pinky?
Give me a red.
Yeah, there's
That's yellow.
It's a yellow card.
Jeopardy. Haller lost the ball in midfield. First touch was appalling. Let go through. Bamford was played through the middle between the defence. Let's have I presume they're going to have a proper look at this because, I'd like to see it from the other side because I'm not sure how much contact there was, but
yeah,
there's a lot.
I've just seen Leeds, how far behind I am.
It's a penalty. The double jeopardy rule was, he made an attempt to play the ball, which is fair enough. He stuck his arm out to try and get the ball. Bamford had the touch to take it past him, so that's a yellow card rather than a straight red, which would have been if he'd deliberately hauled him down. So Click it is on the ball, about to take the penalty.
Well, we've seen the last two missed.
Click runs up.
Oh, that's 2 in a row.
Thank God. What is going on with penalties? That was one of the, I mean, it's just a gentle side foot. I mean, it wasn't, had Fabianski not dived, it wasn't getting anywhere near the corner. I mean, good save, but awful penalty.
It was so I don't think he would actually have reached the goal line if we were still in line. Now, hang on. We're having another look now at what's happening here. He's off the line.
So that is whatever happens now. That's the third penalty in a row that somebody's missed. Which I'm trying to wonder if that's ever happened before for West Ham. Can anybody think of an example where
he's going to have a look at it now? It depends. We need to have a look because if he's got any part of his foot on as the ball's kicked. That left foot may just be on the line. I don't think it is, though. I think he's going to make it be taken again.
Yeah, they're doing it again.
Yeah.
Same taker.
So,
Okay. Well, let's see what happens.
I don't know how close they looked at that, but I thought there was just a little bit of... there might have been just his heel might have just been touching the line, which would have been good enough, but...
So here we go.
They're just showing the replay now. I think Fabianski's saying, look, you can see me foot's on the line.
Could it be a fourth missed penalty in a row against West Ham? Let's see.
Well, now,
I've had a
what I'm concerned about is if Oliver goes something stupid and books Fabianski again.
I've had a notification come through saying the penalty's cancelled. How does that work? Is that the decision? Is that what they call it after the VAR things?
Well, I'm a bit relieved in a way because, Oliver's the sort of bloke who'd like to make a name for himself and might have decided that coming off the line was a yellow card. So anyway, Cliff goes up again now.
Okay.
I suspect he'll put a bit more on it now. And he's put it in the other side. As I say, I don't know how closely they looked at that, but there might have just been a little bit of his heel on there. And if that's the case, then, it's another case of VAR not looking at something properly.
Okay. Well, we have a goal. I mean, we did say we were predicting goals tonight, Rio. We were kind of hoping that it would be in the other net, but there you go. West Ham 1-0 down.
Yeah. Again, it's another team that started incredibly well. I mean, we started very fast against Villa. We're getting the treatment dished out of us, and now we've got to see how we react. Our mentality is: are we tough enough? Have the players got it in them to kind of go away from home, come from behind, have a mental fortitude to battle back against a young, exciting side? I have my doubts, but it's West Ham. Anything can happen.
Well, I suppose better to concede, with 84 minutes to go rather than just 1 minute to go. So there it is. Leeds United 1, West Ham United 0. Pinky, not the start we wanted, really. Not ideal.
Certainly not ideal. And personally, I think they need to have a look at this whole VAR and the keeper on the line thing. It is now handing such an advantage to the penalty taker. Why not just award a goal rather than a spot kick? Because it's so marginal. You're using super slow-mo replays to see is he a millimetre off his line.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's right, because they certainly didn't have a long enough look.
I don't know if they checked any encroachment there, but there seemed to be an awful lot of white shirts in the penalty area at one point.
Okay, well, that's gone, isn't it?
It wasn't really a penalty, and they didn't really look that hard at it because, to me, Fabianski was making every effort to get his arms out of the way, and he could build an argument to say that the Leeds player was actually looking for it. So, that's a very harsh penalty, dare I say. But even the second penalty kick, 2 words again, I say at every spot kick we see, Ray Stewart. Every single coach should have every single player watching YouTube clips. This is how you take a penalty. And the Leeds United player there again, he's had 2 penalty kicks, both of which, if I was Bielsa, I'd fine him for. They were rubbish spot kicks, both of them.
They were, weren't they?
Very poor.
You make the point there about VAR, Pinky, but really Fabianski's handing that on to them on a plate, isn't he? By being off his line. Surely that's basic for a keeper to, especially in this day and age, to make sure you've got at least 1 foot on the line.
I don't know.
On the attack now, Bone on the right. He's skinned his fullback. He's in the box. And it's blocked out for a corner. Promising move from West Ham. Some good work from Bowen down on the right. He actually left his fullback completely for dead there. I don't think our movement in the box was great there, though. Haller went to, instead of pulling away, actually went to where it would have been most difficult for Bowen to get the ball across to him. But promising move. Corner comes in now. Not a very good one. It's played low in and it's headed straight back out for another corner. Do you want to hang on while they're still playing corner roulette here?
Go on.
Yeah. So Bone's got the ball back again, and usual suspects in there are Bonabel, Wayne and Rice. Again, it's not the greatest of corners, but Rice manages to flick it on. It's come out far left to Cresswell, puts the ball back in. Far too long across, though. Do well to keep this in, which we do. That's Fornals. Puts the cross in. Oh! Haller's header is not strong enough, and there's a little block on it. But promising few minutes for West Ham there.
Should be scoring there, Haller. He's got a free header, 3 or 4 yards out. He's got to put the ball in the net there. But lots of comments from the Leeds United supporters on marching on together that they are particularly weak at set pieces in both boxes. So they're generally scathing about their ability to defend. And the way that Bowen skinned his man at the start of that sequence of attacks, you can see why they have those concerns. So a goal down, but I'm not concerned at this stage.
I think I saw a stat earlier today, Pinky, that said, I think it was something like 42% of the goals Leeds have conceded so far this season have come from set pieces. So I guess that kind of backs up what they're saying there.
If only we had James Collins to nut it in from corner kicks.
No, please jump in if anything
Sure.
interesting happens. But just briefly, Rio, let's have our first look at the KUMB.com forum match thread. I'm sure there's going to be a few unhappy chappies there right now. What's the general feeling so far?
Yeah, everyone's pretty unhappy with the way that we had gaps open up in the back. The way that Fabianchi dealt with the actual player coming forward, knowing that the referees are absolutely hot on this kind of thing. There's also a bit of concern that how we're losing to a team with containing 3 man buns. And also, Monkey Bubbles has put, is Rob Green experiencing a crisis? He appears to come dressed as a sociology student. He's rocking that kind of.
That's fair comment. That is fair comment because
I was thinking he looked like. Hang on, we're on the attack. Rice plays the ball inside. Bones on the ball, plays it in. How it turns out doesn't get the shot away properly. Weak shot, hits it into the ground, and Meslier saves. And then again, though, since the goal, I have to say, when we've been going forward with intent. To be fair,
definitely looks like there's goals in this game. I think I might have to apologise on behalf of the team there for the expletives uttered in the background at Rio Towers, I believe. I think it might have been.
Has anyone got a red card? I'm going to show it to my missus, please. Disgraceful language.
Mrs. Rio, you are on a booking, madam. Please behave yourself. It's Leeds United.
I didn't hear it, but fair play. If she's giving you grief, Rio, it's no more than you deserve, son.
Now, unfortunately, tonight I'm second in line for the target reviews after Sebastian Heller, who she's not a fan of.
No.
Benrahma plays a low crossing, but nobody gets across it, and Meslier picks up. There's, I think, at the moment either side could score. At the moment, it's. I mean, obviously we're not neutral, but it's developing into an interesting game if you're just watching. But without any sort of proprietary interest in it.
Yeah, good stuff. Because Gnome hedging his bets there by telling us that either team could score. Don't get that sort of analysis elsewhere.
Both defences look a little bit suspect, shall we say.
Indeed.
Yeah, we have come back strongly on this. We've had 3 relatively decent chances since then. I mean, the Meslier's definitely been the busier of the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Bowen's now sort of in space down the right-hand side, but the defender comes along to cut it out and manages to get the ball back to Meslier. I'd like to see us pushing the keeper here a little bit, but been given time to pick out a clearance, and Leeds come away again. Okay,
we are talking about what we've been. It seems to be a developing theme. This sort of sartorial lessons or discussion. We're talking about the dress. So who was it last week who was criticising for wearing trainers with a suit in the Sky Studio? Was it Rob Green again? Was it?
Yeah. Honestly,
I thought he looked like the talent-free zone Morrissey when he came on earlier on.
On that note,
he's getting dressed in the dark. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he looked utterly ridiculous tonight. It's. I don't know if he's married, Rob Green, but his wife must be sat at home cringing. She must be dying to slow down.
On that note, Gnome, I'm looking at your T-shirt, and from this angle, it looks a bit like an Atari sign. Oh, there you go, Mellotron.
Mellotron. Predates Atari by an eon or two, Mellotron. One for the old heads there. Of course, you do it all now with a sampler on your mobile phone, but Mellotrons were wonderful things.
What's the world coming to, eh? What's the world coming to? If you can't cart your big old Mellotron around, you don't need to do that these days. Fantastic. We're going way off on a tangent anyway. It is Leeds United 1, West Ham United just over 15 minutes gone. West Ham succumbing to a 6-minute penalty. It was retaken. The first one was actually taken in the 4th minute and saved by Fabianski, but a retake ordered as the pole was off his line by inches, and the ball was struck home to give the home side the lead. Pinky, 15 minutes gone. What are we thinking about the way we're playing, the formation we've got out there? Is it working for us, do you think? Is it likely to work for the rest of the evening?
I think this is a game where there is so much space. You know, both teams are leaving acres of space all over the park. I raised a concern last week on the intensity and the application in these supporter-free games, or essentially supporter-free games. And this is not a full-blooded competitive get-stuck-in game. You know, there's yards of space both sides, and that's why it's so end-to-end stuff. I'm not sure it's actually a particularly good game, if I'm being honest, at this stage.
Yeah, it's very, very open, isn't it, so far?
Anyway.
No, what are we thinking in terms of our tactical approach so far? How's it changed from what we'd normally see in the last few weeks?
Well, we're attacking wherever possible. Our usual thing is we tend to play on the break, and sorry, just watching something going on there, nothing happening really. Which we're actually taking the game to them a lot more than we normally do. Which is, I think we need to. But
I mean, we've just seen Ogbonna, trying to win the ball back 15 yards from the Leeds penalty area. I mean, he's 40 yards upfield further than where he should be. So dare I say it, we are pushing up much higher than perhaps we've seen in recent weeks. So my fear, therefore, is the ball over the top and someone will just run onto it. But
we saw a little bit of that last week, didn't we, Pinky?
Sorry?
With Balbuena. I said we saw a little bit of that last week with Balbuena, didn't we? Against Man United, pushing up into.
And I'm not keen on it. I've got to be honest. I'm a bit old-fashioned. I like centre halves really to stay just on the halfway line. Don't go any further.
So Haller came in to pick up a ball there, and there was a relatively easy ball on for him, which he should have played first time. Didn't, lost it. Now Leeds are on the attack, have a shot, and it's gone wide. Haller needed to do better there. It was a good move, played up to him, and he normally takes the ball well with his back to goal, and he had that ball off, but it was just a lazy pass. It wasn't good enough, and that's where we get called out. That's the sort of thing we got called out from where the penalty arrived. So excuse me. Hence my part of Haller.
We're often, or at least the forums are quite critical of Haller, Gnome, and he's sort of not really done anything to sort of quell that concern tonight so far. As he had a couple of shots, but sort of all a bit half-hearted really so far.
Yeah, he needed to do better. Then it's. I mean, he gets into good positions, and as we give the ball away in midfield, and this is where it worries me. Leeds come running forward, streaming forward, and Ogbonna didn't quite get back up to 18. Is there? That's Belloli. Sorry, couldn't quite say that. Got past Ogbonna, but his little toe poke in towards goal was meat and drink for Fabianski. But it's sloppy when we give the ball away like that, and we really need to not do it. Probably the best way to put that.
Yeah, absolutely. Rio, we've been behind for about 12 minutes now. We could do the goal soon, couldn't we? Leeds sort of perhaps becoming, putting a bit more pressure on us again after we had that sort of, reaction after the goal. But we could really do with, getting back into this game, couldn't we, soon?
Yeah, definitely. Again, it's like last week, isn't it? When we did get on a front foot after conceding, the chances didn't come our way. We didn't finish them off. A couple of things I've really noticed is Cresswell is going to be absolutely knackered at the end of this game. He's played a lot higher forward because it looks like he's more of a back four, but Cress has been up on the left-hand wing quite far forward a lot, and I've seen him chasing back a couple of times.
Yeah.
And we know his pace is rather suspect at the best of times, so I just worry he's going to tire easy. Ben Rama started much more further forward than I would have thought. And he's actually looked quite bright.
From Bowen there.
So he's impressed me so far.
Good Gnome.
But a good run from Bowen, cutting in from our right-hand side, as is his want. Got into a good position, but totally got underneath the shot. Sailed harmlessly over, but another sort of effort on goal, however wayward it was. But we need to be a little bit calmer in front of goal. The chances we've had, we've kind of snapped at a little bit, and Bowen's much better than that. You'd expect a much better shot from Bowen than that.
A little bit of frustration, perhaps, Gnome, from Bowen there.
Just a sort of a bit of a sort of rush of blood to the head, really. Calm head, and sorry, just about to say a crossing from Leeds, but headed clear by Balbuena. It's one of those ones where you manoeuvre yourself into a position. You think, I've got a shot here, and it is a rush of blood to the head. You lean back and you fail to really get the right angle or anything. It was a horrible shot, and it just needed a slightly calmer brain on it.
Yes, well, let's hope. Of course, he's been in superb form recently, Jared Bowen, and let's hope that was just a marker. Sometimes you need one of those, don't you, to get it out of your system. So let's hope all that's what that is. Moving to the YouTube chat for the first time this evening, David May, hi David, says Haller stats 20 minutes in, dispossessed for the opening goal, 2 poor attempts at goal, both scoreable and 1 lousy pass. So obviously, David, not a huge fan of Haller so far tonight. Lewis John said, I said 2-0 defeat before the start, and I won't be wrong, could be worse. Connor Green, no way this stays 1-0. And I think we're all sort of inclined to agree with that, Rio, aren't we? That there are more goals coming here at some point.
Absolutely. And the game's been played such a frenetic pace that I do worry about us, because we all know that Bielsa drills the fitness into his lead side, and that's what they really concentrate on. And we've seen us fade a couple of times in the particularly last week, we suffered in the second half. But with the game being played at such a pace, I do worry about us. As I said, Ben Rama gets forward.
Ben Rama gets shot in. Ben Rama cut in from the left. Ben Rama cut in from the left, much in the same way as Bowen did from the right. It was a better shot in the fact he kept it down, but there was a lot of traffic in the way, and it was blocked out. Still on the ball, Ben Rama. What's happening there? He's given a throw in, I think, to West Ham. But both Ben Rama and Bowen looking fairly bright at the moment. And so we get another throw in, same spot. So nothing much happening there.
Pinky, Ben Rama, a bit quiet tonight so far. We're halfway through the first half. I haven't really seen a lot of him up until that point, have we?
No, not a huge amount, but I suspect, it sounds obvious, but when we've got the ball in the final third, he'll come alive.
Yeah.
The problem is it's the other 2/3 of the pitch, but we knew that before kickoff.
Yeah.
It's straightforwardly. The comment about Cresswell and can he sustain the pace of the game? I mean, there's absolutely no doubt at all. If I was Bielsa, I would be targeting that part of our team, because Cresswell's
it's a corner to West Ham here. The fullbacks, Kufo's just skinned a fullback and won a corner, which would worry me if I were Leeds. Longer corner over, and
yes,
that's got to be a goal.
It's in. It is, yes.
So
two pecks on the end of it. Brilliant. What were the Leeds not saying about set pieces?
There you go. 42% apparently goals conceded this season from a.
As I was saying, I was trying to shoehorn it in before the corner was taken. A much longer corner, and Souček's just the keeper might have done a bit better there. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's very weak hands. I mean, it's a good yard over. There's no need for the little buzzer on that one. That's not good goalkeeping. But I was saying that from the Leeds perspective, Kufel's not one to take a full-back on normally. Normally gets so far, then look for somebody to lay the ball off to. But he's just flicked it past. The full-back got up, but made a complete hash of trying to set out for a goal kick. And so well played Kufel there, and well played Souček. 1-1, game on, as they say.
Yeah, 24 minutes in the bag, 25 now as Souček scoring. Pinky, I think Bielsa's going to be rather disappointed by Dallas's defending there, isn't he, for that corner? I mean, Souček's just gone straight over the top of him. And, I mean, what's the goalkeeper? That's a bit half-hearted, that, isn't it?
The goalie's had an absolute shocker there. I mean, there's been no doubt about that. But the way that Souček was, every single team watches every single team's games, and none more so than Bielsa. So I can't believe that his side haven't been briefed of our likely set moves at corner kicks.
Yeah,
and you can't allow Souček to get a run and essentially a free header and get above his man. But for the keeper there, he's had an absolute mare. I mean, he's got to do better than that. And very encouraging for us though, because I think if we can get the ball in that part of the pitch, that Leeds United defence looks absolutely poor. It looks the weakest we've seen this season, dare I say it.
Yeah, definitely.
They look very vulnerable. Both full-back spots, I'd say. But particularly their left, our right.
Definitely opportunities there. Rio, you were going to come in there, buddy.
Yeah, no, just before, as you mentioned, Sky before the game, mentioned like how the sets were from set pieces. Yeah. They also showed a little stat about the size comparison, and we had a distinct height advantage. Across the whole back four. So our forwards, our defenders going up, we've all got a height advantage. Obviously, Souček's the tallest player on the pitch. So it's no surprise that when we did score, it's come from a set piece like that. I've also just Googled Meunier, and I think the English translation of Meunier is Joe Hart's crisp packet hens.
Oh, great work by Ben Rama there. Lovely bit of individual skill.
Move from Ben Rama. Oh, you made the run.
Again, it's Haller's picking the wrong run in the box, I reckon. Ben Rama, I think, had done everything right there, and just a breakdown in communication at the vital moment between him and Haller. But lovely individual skill from Ben Rama to open up the opportunity.
It's almost if Fornals had knew Haller was going to not make that run, that would have been a cracking ball for Fornals as Leeds now come on the attack. Straight down Fabianski's throat from Rodrigo there. Got caught a little bit
between Cresswell and Ogbonna. Cresswell missing in action.
Chances at either end then within the space of a few seconds. It is still, of course, Leeds United 1, West Ham United 1. Rio, we were saying a few minutes ago that we needed to score, and there it is. We've come back, and maybe we should say we need another goal because it seems to be working there.
Yeah, but we said that earlier on, and it went the other way. Yeah, we've got to be careful.
Don't mention that.
There's a lot of Hilaire is getting a lot of stick on the forum. Actually, a lot of stick about his touch, his awareness, everything. Cardiff Here We Come has put. Yeah, Cardiff Here We Come has just put. I'm sorry, I wanted Haller to be a roaring success, but he's in no doubt the worst player I've ever seen. 45 million. That pass a few minutes ago was a WTF moment. He's bad, real bad, and honestly, it's like playing with 10 men. Can anyone who still believes in him tell me one thing he does well? A good runner, clinical in front of goal, a character of the club, what? I'm not sure I agree with one of the worst players I've ever seen. He's not a particularly good start to the game, but he's had a bit of a shocker. But, if he's one of the worst players we've ever seen, then you haven't been watching the club for very long, because I can remember some absolute stinkers from the 80s, 90s, 2000s and 2010s.
And even last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly the words John Radford will be total mystery to those people, I think.
So you beat me to that, Gnome. I was just going to come in there and say, it wasn't much better in the 70s either at points, but there you go. You stole my thunder. I mean, Rio's right, of course. I mean, to say that Hilaire is the worst player anyone's seen at West Ham is, of course, palpable nonsense. We've seen a lot worse. No.
Benrahma was in a promising position, but kind of got caught in possession there before he was able to lay it off, which is a shame because he could either have tried to wiggle his way through into the box, or Bowen was looking looking interested on the right hand side of the box there. But to be fair, Haller, I think it was Haller fed him there, and ball's coming up our end now. Leeds looking to build something with Bamford. He's playing quite deep, and Benrahma gets in. Wins the ball, and we come away with it. Good little nip in from Benrahma there, who's doing that quite a lot today.
It's just Benrahma. The final ball just not quite good enough. But yeah, good skill from Benrahma. A couple of step overs to beat his man. But 10 or 15 seconds before that, it was actually Rice came charging forward to put the Leeds United player under pressure, and that's how Benrahma managed to nick the ball off him. So, good play from Rice as well there.
Yeah, I'm so far behind. I'm just seeing this now.
Benrahma's hit the side netting there. I've learnt my lesson after last week. But again, Rice reading the game, intercepted, played Benrahma in, lots of options, and tried to curl it in at the near post, just inside the near post, about a foot wide. And but I did pause when I saw the net below just to be on the safe side after last week's loss of dignity, shall we say.
No, Leeds seem to be giving the ball away quite a bit in the last few minutes.
Yeah, good. Saves us doing it. Excuse me.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's a case of the sort of slightly wayward, slightly slapdash pass that falls in between players, and it's a combination of that, and it's that last one where we built an attack from, that was Rice anticipating that moving into that space. Stay with me, Leeds on the attack again. Got a cross in. Oh, that's a good defensive header there. I think it's Balbuena, wasn't it?
No idea.
A little bit of danger there. As that Cresswell had slipped at an opportune moment, and that was a very, very dangerous cross with what's his name, Rodrigo, looking dangerous there. So corner to Leeds, out on their left.
Okay.
Played short, back out the taker, played back out to the edge of the box, and it's all the way back on the centre circle. Some good pressing there. Played long in again, and Fabianski's out to pick up the loose ball. Odd corner that. Very, very odd corner.
Yeah, a decent clearance by Balbuena just before that, though, known to avert the danger when the cross was swung in. Good stuff.
Oh, Bowen's been caught nasty. I could feel that from here. He's up and hobbling, but it's a yellow card. It was straight through the back of him. Let's have a look at it again.
Dirty Leeds.
Yeah, just kicked him in the back of the leg. No comment on the no complaints there. I think ball's gone and he's just stabbed back on his ankle. Horrible nasty. That's Alioski in the yellow card with the yellow card there. So I think that's a yellow card apiece now.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, Fabianski already in the book for the foul that led to the penalty. It's interesting to see the Leeds player remonstrate with the referee there, as if to say, what was that all about? Don't think he's got any cause for complaint there, Rio, is he?
No, not at all. Right, here we go. We just run the ball back into our box. Fornells feeds it away. Kufel surging forward. Checking back now. But we're doing all right at the moment. As I say that, invariably we lose it,
Commentator's curse, mate. Commentator's curse.
I can't fault the way we're playing. Exactly. I can't fault the way we're playing at the moment. We've come back really well. We need to sharpen up in a couple of areas. Obviously, Hilaire needs, I think, a little bit of a blast at half time from Moyes about holding the ball up and distributing it better. I think Bowen also needs a little word because his decision making at times kind of undoes all his good work. He's a great footballer, but when it comes to the end product, he's like a 1 in 3 player in terms of making the right decision. And I think you need sharpening up there. But other than that, I mean, considering the start we had, we're coming into this game all right now. We're settling it down. We're doing okay.
Yeah, we're certainly doing a lot better than we were after 5 or 6 minutes anyway, when we were a goal down. Confession time, gentlemen. When I was a young lad, I had a Leeds United shirt, and it was the home shirt with the Admiral logos all the way down the side, the yellow and blue stripe, and it also had one of those old style Leeds United badges. You know, the ones with the ball on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the, sort of, the LU with the smile, which is the sort of smiley design.
Yes, here's the thing. It was only about 2 years ago that I actually realised that was an L and a U, but an iconic badge. The reason I mention it is because I've just seen it in the corner of the stand. They're using it. Pinky is aghast, absolutely aghast at that revelation there. I can see Pinky.
I mean, I like to dress up in women's underwear every now and again, but I don't want to broadcast it to an audience of millions, do I? You know, I mean, you know, yeah. Oh, we're live, are we? We're live. You know, but I mean,
shut it down. Shut it down.
I had a Leeds United shirt. I mean, you couldn't shock me any more if you tried. Absolutely appalling confession there from the editor. But main concern here tonight is Cresswell wandering forward.
Leeds had a free kick here. A header came in, and 22 there. That was Harrison was offside as he came in to challenge Fabianski there. So nothing to see here. I'm just sort of just embarrassed for the pair of you, really. But
Pinky was just saying I couldn't shock him anymore. I'm going to try. I also had 2 Chelsea scarves at one point, which my godfather, who was a Chelsea fan, bought for me in a failed attempt to turn me to the dark side. But yeah, it was the days when they were. You remember them old silk scarves that you used to wear around your wrist? One of those, and I think the away one was a green and yellow one, possibly. But anyway,
they had a red, green, and yellow away kit for a while, Chelsea, before
possibly.
Branding became all the rage.
Yeah, well, I realise I'm now outcast by my fellow commentators here. Rio shaking his head in absolute disappointment. I can see there as well. Sorry, buddy.
I'm composing a resignation letter.
While we're on the subject of shirts, Lewis has just asked what shirt I'm wearing tonight. This is it's over this side. This is my local grassroots club, Thundersea Rovers, and the under-8s are sponsored by none other than KUMB.com. So there you go. Nothing to do with Newcastle, Grimsby, or anything like that, but the mighty Thundersea Rovers Sports Club, who are hoping to be back in action this weekend. We've gone completely off on a tangent, Pinky, haven't we? We're 38 minutes in. It's Leeds United 1, West Ham United 1. It's all gone a bit quiet again, hence why we're talking about nonsense like Leeds and Chelsea memorabilia.
Yeah, I mean, what we're saying here tonight, I think, you know, in the so-called battle of, the top draw midfielders, I think we're seeing that Declan Rice is a much better player than Calvin Phillips, that's for certain. Things that I'm seeing here from Rice tonight, he is choosing when to apply pressure in the press and force the error from the Leeds players really judiciously tonight. I think it's an element to his game that he's developing. So he's having a good game. The only thing I'll be doing if I was David Moyes at halftime would be saying to Aaron Cresswell, longer studs, because he slipped over 3 times tonight, and one occasion it could have cost us a goal. And he is getting caught upfield an awful lot. I mean, Bielsa won't miss that, and that little gap in behind Cresswell between there and Ogbonna, they will exploit, no doubt about it.
Good stuff. We'll take a look at the forums in just a moment, gentlemen, just to see what everyone's saying. Pinky, to see how the Leeds fans reacted to West Ham's equaliser. Before we do that, let's have some stats. We've not visited the stats box yet tonight, so we should do that right now. Possession-wise, Leeds 69% to West Ham's 31 shots. Leeds 5 to West Ham 7 shots on target, 3 apiece. West Ham 3 corners to Leeds 1, and fouls West Ham have committed 4, Leeds just 3. So West Ham certainly edging it in terms of the statistics bar the possession. We'll have a look at XG at halftime if we can. Pinky's That's Pinky's bag, that one. But let's start by looking at the Leeds fan site, Pinky, and what are they saying about West Ham's equaliser then?
Yeah, I mean, every comment, it's set piece, set piece, set piece.
Right.
You know, why can't we learn how to defend corners?
Sorry, Pinky, just to come in there. There was a cross from the left there. Sort of put the cross in, but Bamford made himself a little bit of space. Fairly free header, but the ball was swinging away from goal, and he had to sort of try and most of his energy was put towards putting direction on it rather than pace. Easy save for Fabianski, but Leeds have had a bit of possession last couple of minutes, so just keeping an eye on that. Sorry, Pinky.
Yeah, I mean, all the comments on the Leeds forums are they're getting bullied off the ball. They're weak as anything at defending corner kicks, and clearly it's their Achilles heel. You know, they are a little bit down about it, but you know, if you watch your team every week, you pretty soon identify the weaknesses. And I don't know why Bielsa bothers reading or doing all that video analysis. At half an hour reading KUMB, he knows straight away where our problems were.
Very true, very true. Thank you, Pinky. Rio, what's the West Ham verdict so far?
I'm afraid to say most of it's now a 23-page match for him. Is based around Sebastian Haller's deficiencies and his lack of ability. It's not pretty reading, really, like seeing the £45 million striker or West Ham player getting so much abuse. Robbie's put, if Haller was a horse, they'd shoot him. Doofy, I'd say Haller is the worst player I've ever seen based on transfer value to ability. For £45 million for a slow, lazy target man with a touch of shipping container and less finishing ability than Carlton Cole. Bill, though, has put, I've always given Haller the benefit of the doubt, but now I think we should give him a wand and shove a Christmas tree right up his rear. 4 hours is much better. So there's not a lot of love there. One other thing that was picked up.
Yep.
And I'm just trying to remember who it was. Celador put, Bonner is really struggling. And I don't think that's the case. I think he's, as Pinky mentioned, Creswell is going forward so much and leaving that gap behind him. He's causing Enzo to work twice as hard.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you, Rio. Any more, or is that it for now?
No, that's it for now. There's nothing apart from Haller abuse at the moment.
Okay, well, let's see if things become a bit more positive later. Gnome, decent ball there from Haller. We're talking about Haller. Involved just there.
Played out wide, and there was a good possibility. Unfortunately, Cresswell got caught, and going for the return ball. The return ball would have been good had Cresswell been able to actually walk, never mind run. But he was off the pitch hobbling, unfortunately. So it all came to nothing. That was Haller. That was Haller to do what Haller does very well when he can, when he is doing it well. Held up the ball, looked up, and was able to bring someone else slightly wider in on the play. Yeah. As we lose the ball again, and Bonner does well to tie it up. Last 5 minutes, we've taken our foot off the pedal just a little bit, I think, and we've conceded a lot of possession to Leeds. Nothing really sort of as Leeds give it back to us now, but there's been nothing really worrying. But as we were to throw in on our right hand side, but you just rather see a little bit more of us from an attacking perspective, I think. But have a 5-minute rest and let's go forward now.
We are. Thank you, Gnome. We are rapidly approaching half-time. Leeds United 1, West Ham United 1. Over chuffed in the YouTube chat asking when's the next round of Mastermind. Coming soon, my friend. We haven't forgotten. It might be after Christmas now, but they will be coming very soon. Simon Osborne, I think it was, said that, yes, it was Simon. Simon Osborne says, my uncle, talking about shirts from other teams, my uncle bought me an Orient shirt when I was a whippersnapper. Do let us know what the most embarrassing shirt stories are that you have out there, if you've got any to share. There you go. Orient, Leeds, Chelsea. Going to have to go some way to beat that lot, I guess. But there you go. In the final minute of the first half, Rio, take us through to half time, please, buddy, or at least till the 45-minute mark.
Okay, so Leeds have it near the edge of our area, building it down the right hand side, playing it in. And Rodrigo and Klitsch trying to squeeze the chance out, but the ball comes off our ball and goes for a corner. Now, we hope we don't get sucker punched like Leeds did. Hopefully, the height advantage we have, a bit more organisation, would prove us in good stead. So, Leeds is just about to take it. I can't see who. I think it's Rodrigo about to take this.
Mm-hmm.
Fires it into near post. Oh, and Fabianski gets the punch away just from off the top of the head of the lead player. It's gone back out. Rodrigo again feeds it into the number 2, who has a shot from long distance, but Fabianski holds it clearly. Should never let man with a man bun ever shoot from that distance, if you ask me. But yeah, 2 minutes added time now.
Okay.
There's Luke Hayden with it. Yeah, 2 minutes added time, which we're in about 30 seconds done. We're just knocking it around at the back at the moment. Hopefully we won't get caught out by something stupid. And as I say that, a very, very lax pass from Bonner, but he was under pressure there. So throw in about 30 yards away from our goal. And they pump it up a little bit, looking for Bamford. Goes to nothing. Fabianski collects. Now, hopefully we'll see this out. I mean, there's a minute to go this half. We really shouldn't be putting ourselves under pressure here. Just be a bit sensible. Fab's taking his time. Rolls out to Balbina. Long ball forward into Hilaire. Comes to nothing again. So look for another 2 pages of abuse for him.
It's another one that's floundered on the rock of Hilaire. He's failed to hold on to it. His attempted pass for what it was got blocked. Half-hearted appeal for handball. I don't think he was ever going to get that. And now want to throw in pretty much on the halfway line with about 15 seconds of up. That's actually the whistle, yeah. So did that go earlier or did I miss?
15, 20 seconds early.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
You got one job with that, watch ref.
Yeah, well, there it is. Half time. Leeds United 1. West Ham United 1. They're still playing on my stream because I'm so far. But there we go. They've just called up 46 minutes and 44 seconds, known to be precise. So, yeah,
it wasn't
definitely called it early.
Going mad. It was early, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we're assuming Sky's clock was accurate, of course, but knowing Oliver, he probably just wanted to be somebody to be talking about him at the moment. So,
well, there you go. He's done his job if that's the case, because that's exactly what we're doing. He's stolen those 16 seconds off of us. I don't think
bet he wears women's underwear as well.
I think this might be a subject we need to move away from, but anyway, Pinky with that startling revelation. In fact, it was a first half 4 startling revelations, was it not? With the talk of women's underwear and Leeds and Chelsea shirts and scarves and whatnot, and Mellotron t-shirts. But on the pitch, which is what, of course, we're actually here for, it's Leeds 1, West Ham 1. Pinky, how are you thinking at half time? Are you happy with what you've seen so far?
I don't think it's a particularly good game, in the sense of I'm not convinced the standard of what we're watching is true Premier League standard, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's the environment in which they're playing. Both teams seem willing to surrender possession with monotonous regularity.
Yeah.
Neither side has got a player who's really put his foot on the ball and saying, I'm going to control the game. Having said that, I think it's well within us to win here tonight. There's no doubt in my mind about that at all. I think Leeds United look absolutely abysmal at the back. I really do. And you can see why Bielsa says we're going to outscore the opposition, because he hasn't got the players to try and sneak points. He just simply hasn't got those. So if I was Moyes, I'd keep being positive. I would really go for broke early on in the second half. And I think if we got a second goal before they get a second goal, I think that would be enough to secure the points for us tonight. The one area of weakness is that gap between Cresswell and Bonner, when Cresswell goes charging down the left flank. I can see why he's doing it, is because Dallas is all over the place. And if I was going to pressurise Leeds United, that's the side I'll be pushing for. But it's
Yeah.
leaving a gap behind us as well. So for me tonight, standout player for us is Declan Rice again. I think he's having a very good game. But Leeds, for me tonight, they're there for the taking, and we need to push on for the win.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Pinky. Rio, you know, we started really badly, didn't we? Yet, you know, the penalty. Well, we started really well, I suppose. The penalty was saved. The third penalty in a row that we've conceded, and the opposition have failed to score from. I mean, can you remember that ever happening before? I certainly can't.
I certainly can't remember it at all.
No.
It's not very often you give away 3 penalties in 3 games, is it? Let alone
no, that's true. That's true.
You know, so yeah, it's a very strange times we live in.
Indeed. But
you got to say that other than that first opening couple of minutes, when it was an absolute lapse of, it was a poor play by Haller. I'm going to actually join him with a little. I'll criticise him for that. He lost the ball in midfield.
Yeah.
They broke away, but there was a lot of space in between the 2 centre backs. For Fabianski, had nothing really to do other than make himself big or bring the player down. I think bringing him down was probably the safer option. I think otherwise would have been a certain goal.
Yeah.
Other than that, we've rid the storm pretty well. You know, they've not offered a lot, have they? You know, they can knock the ball around nicely, but they've not really tested us with any conviction. And we've had much the better opportunities. We just failed to take them again. Take 1 or 2. It's like last week. Take 1 or 2 of them early opportunities. This can be rather more or less safe.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? I mean, there's been plenty of chances. 7 shots at goal for each team in the first half there. Leeds 5 of theirs on target, which is a pretty good ratio. 3 of ours on target, which isn't too bad. You know, just shy of 50%, which is good stuff. But yeah, it's there's definitely goals out there. I think, Gnome, isn't there in this second half? I mean, I you know, you look at this and you don't see this one ending, you know, 1-1, do you?
No, I don't. They're just showing the penalty incident again, and there's an old gag about players being able to trap a ball further than I can kick it. That's precisely what Haller did there. And yeah, I'm not going to jump on a sort of bashing Haller bandwagon. I'm more than happy to give him praise, but that was very, very poor. But there's certainly more goals in it. I'd like to take issue with Pinky saying this isn't a good game. Technically, from a football perspective, the football's maybe in certain areas is not the best quality, but that's kind of a little bit in a way that's kind of the source of a lot of the entertainment. They're just showing the penalty incident, and that's mightily close to being something a little bit on the line. They're probably just about off the line. Well, Bamford, for the second penalty, Bamford's nearly level with the penalty taker when it's taken. Obviously encroachment's not this week's thing they're looking for. Yeah, if you're going to give one thing, you've got to give the other. But
I mean, the point about that, Gnome, I suppose, is that, you know, if you're going to do that every time a penalty's taken, you're never going to end a game of football, are you? You know, it must happen on nearly every penalty that there's encroachment or, you know, a goalkeeper's off his line, surely.
Yeah. So
it does make you wonder. Yeah.
Anyway,
it does make you wonder if they've cancelled Fabianski's save, why have they not pulled Bamford up? I think it's a very valid point you make there. Why?
Them's the rules. Them's the laws.
Yeah. Consistency.
I'm just looking at the Souček goal. Very, very poor defensively from Leeds all round. Is that 15? Sorry. Dallas is just. He's just sort of there. He thinks this just by being there will be enough. Well, Souček's quite good in the air, and he's murdered him there. The keeper's. Well, he's come halfway, then he's gone back, and he's sort of flapped at it, and it
That
got
is a
bit of
flap,
handle.
isn't it? I mean, if you know, I'm sure I would imagine if you look in the dictionary and look at the definition of the word flap, that's got to be mentioned in there somewhere. I mean, that's horrendous, isn't it?
It really was. It was very, very poor.
Sunday league stuff, perhaps.
Yeah. They didn't actually show the build up to the corner there, because Kufel did very well, because firstly taking on the left back, and then I think it was Ailing who might have been playing out there. I wasn't quite sure who it was, but and the guy got back, but he then pressured him into flicking the ball out. Yeah, I mean, the last 10 minutes of that, we have sat back a little bit. Not that Leeds have created much in the way of heart-in-mouth chances, shall we say, but we have taken our foot off the gas. Ben Rama, when he's been going forward, when he has had the ball and we've been pushing at them, has looked dangerous, as has Bowen. But as I say, the last 10, 15 minutes, we didn't really see anything of them.
Yeah.
So a little change of emphasis perhaps required at the start of the second half.
Thank you, Gnome. Pinky, are we should we go out with the same 11 for the second half that we ended the first 45 minutes with?
Yeah, I would do. I mean, you know, we were still on the bus when they caught us cold at kick-off. You know, it was a mistake from Haller. Their lad tore through, and Fabianski. Okay, I'll give the Leeds attacker the benefit. Fabianski pulled him down. Other than that, it's more about the general low level of quality of the game that's seen Leeds have the chances they've had. I wouldn't be too concerned with our lineup. I just think get Cresswell to change his studs and just send them out and say, go get a goal. Go get a goal, West Ham United, because Leeds aren't playing well tonight. You know, I've seen them 3 or 4 times this season, and I think this is their worst performance by some distance. So, we seem to have got them on a night when they're not at it. The problem is I don't think we're really at it tonight either. Fairness to Ben Rama, who's a player I've criticised quite heavily in the bits that we've seen him so far. I think tonight, certainly going forward, he's looked quite a neat little player actually. So let's see if he can unlock their defence and maybe get a goal for himself early in the second half.
Yeah, there's been some really neat touches, haven't there, in that first half? I mean, we sort of said, I think, again, talking about the commentators' curse coming to bite us, we were mentioning the fact that he hadn't really been that involved, and then had a really good 10 or 15-minute spell. And there was that little drag back on the halfway line, wasn't there, where he sort of left his mark for
lovely
dead.
Individual skill from him, you know, and so he clearly looks like a player who will use skill in a live game situation rather than on the training ground. So he's got the confidence to do that. That might be tonight because he seems to be getting quite a bit of time that I find surprising. But he might just be that little je ne sais quoi, and we could expect to see, if he does turn out to be that player, David Moyes' phone will light up with text messages from the chairman going, I told you so, I told you so, or whatever that is that they communicate, you know. And Josh King, we don't need him, all that sort of stuff. I don't know how the chairman and the manager are to react, but I can just imagine if Ben Rama gets a goal, the chairman won't be slow in pointing it out.
Almost certainly not, as history has proven in recent years. I get the feeling, Pinky, that Ben Rama strikes me as the kind of player that would like to be playing in front of people. The sort of player like a Payet that revels in performing those skills and tricks and getting the crowd on his side, and hasn't had the chance to do that so far, of course.
I think he's got quick feet.
Yeah.
And I think he is, funnily enough, Di Canio was the player that came to my mind half an hour ago in terms of this guy likes to show a bit. This is a guy who wants to show I am the man. Yeah. And I think if he was in front of, dare I say it, the Upton Park crowd, that's exactly the sort of environment you could see him thriving in.
Absolutely.
The London Stadium, on the other hand, with a quarter of an hour sort of bus journey at the edge of the pitch from the middle of the park, I'm not so sure it's the right environment. So, bizarrely, we might see the best of him away from home.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Well, we shall see. I mean, he's certainly had a decent first half there, showing some really, really good touches. And of course, we hope to see more of that in the second half, which is rapidly approaching, I think, now. We're about 5 minutes away from the start of the half. Gnome, would you agree with Pinky there and start again with the same 11 that we ended the first half with?
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything in terms of personnel. I mean, we say this every week, but our strength in depth is not really there. And as poor a game as we as we perceive Haller to be having, we haven't got a striker really on the bench. So you know, we're lacking there. So we're gonna have to persevere with him. Yeah. Just laughing at Pinky's comment that, you know, it's a 5.5-minute bus ride from the edge of the pitch to the centre circle there. Of course, that bus ride got even bigger, with the pitch being about a yard wider than we previously thought of, as we discovered last week.
Yeah, and do you want
the
to
touchline having been moved apparently? So
yes, this of course the story that as Gnome says, the touchline has been moved. Was it about a yard, Gnome, towards the stand?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
There was a little bulge in it that went out just where the ball went out. You know.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Not
indeed.
that we're bitter, but yeah. No, I wouldn't change anything in terms of personnel. I would be telling them, you know, you've seen how dangerous we can be when we're pushing forward. So let's not all go stupid and leaving gaps or anything, but let's try and impose our game on them a little bit more. That can only be good for Haller, because you know, he'll be getting into positions to get more chances. Now we're looking at 2 Leeds substitutions about to take place.
Okay.
So we've got Shackleton and Helder Costa appear to be coming on. Yeah, Alioski's off, Costa on, and Harrison is off, and Shackleton's on. So those are the 2 changes that the opponents are making at the interval. So
okay, there it is. So Bielsa not hanging about. Obviously, saw something there, Rio, that he wasn't particularly happy about in the first half. I just wanted to touch quickly, Rio, on Thomas Souček. 3rd goal of the season tonight, and of course, goals in back-to-back games. Scored our goal, the opening goal against Manchester United last Sunday, and done it again tonight. So that's good stuff, because he'd sort of got off the boil a little bit, hadn't he? I mean, we've been a little bit critical of him in the odd game recently. He'd only scored once before that, you know, this season. Domestically, I should stress, because he also scored for the Czech Republic in a 2-0 win over Slovakia on the 18th of November. But yeah, I mean, 2 goals in 2 games. Looking like our big Czech is bouncing up again, Rio.
Yeah, he had lost his way a little bit, like club-wise, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Been very quiet, a little bit sloppy in his play at times, which is the thing I like him. But, you know, it was against some big clubs, so maybe the quality of opposition might have just shown him up a little bit. You know, you never know. He might have been affected by that.
Yeah.
But the last couple of games, he stepped up to the plate. He's a massive threat in the box, isn't he? We've seen him score not just with headers, but with his feet as well. There's a goal up at St James's Park in the last season, which he took incredibly well. So yeah, he's a massive goal threat for us. And hopefully now he's settled into a little bit of a run. We're
Leeds on the attack. Sorry, just to we've started Leeds on the attack, but Fabianski comes out and nicks the ball off the head of a player as a deflected effort goes up in the air. Leeds, we're just come up to a minute in, and Leeds have started fairly strongly. But
Gnome, can you remind me of those substitutions? Shackleton and Costa came on for.
Yeah, second. Bowen's on the ball at the moment, but slightly overruns it, and Ayling takes it off him. Got him penned in there, but lack of support from midfield to the forward players means that Leeds can bring it away. Yeah, Shackleton and Helder Costa were on, and
Harrison and Alioski.
And
thank you, Rio.
Alioski, the other one, is off.
Okay, so yeah, interesting one. What do you make of that, Rio? Those changes there from Bielsa.
Well, I think Costa was pretty obvious. I was surprised Harrison went off because I thought he'd had a reasonable game. I quite like him as a pub, what I've seen him this season.
Yeah.
I just think he's going to, as we saw in the
Chris was
on the 10th. Did you have Box Bamford shoots or turn?
Was that Cresswell slipping over again at the?
Yeah, I just think quite natural because, as we've seen, there's a lot of space in between in our back four, isn't there? You know, gap between.
What are the coaching staff tell them at half time? Do they watch the game? You know, I sat here and said he slipped over 3 times in the first half, and he should have his studs changed at half time. And he's on his backside again already, 3 minutes into the second half. These are basics.
That's quite shocking, actually, Pinky. I mean, because it almost looked like been shot, didn't it? The way his legs went away from him there. It
was Bambi on ice.
Real trouble. Yeah, absolutely.
But just completely gave away from underneath him. But just top half his body went one way, that his feet went another.
Bamford
stubbed him. You know.
It'd be interesting. It would be good to perhaps get a close up on the TV just to see what he's wearing. Maybe he's got the old mouldeds out, the old Dunlop specials. But we shall see.
Green Flash, the way he's going.
Green Flash. Pinky Patrick Bamford, been in really good form for Leeds so far this season. Of course, scored at Chelsea the other day. Scored the opening goal up there. But I mean, that was a real good chance for him, wasn't it? There, he had space and time.
It was, but I tell you, I like him.
I
like him. I'd if they're at the wrong end of the table come the end of the season, I'd be tempted. I'd be sorely tempted. But a quick bit of admonishment for you, if I may, first of all.
Please do.
If you ever use the bouncing check thing ever again, I'm walking off. Okay, that's shocking it was, and I'm surprised Rio let you get away with it, frankly.
I'm just pleased someone noticed it, actually. So thank you for
notice it.
Right on the move. YouTube. Up to Bowen. Bowen's on the right hand side, gets the cross in, straight through to the keeper though. But some good move. Again, Haller laid off a nice ball there. Fair play to Ben Rama, who combined well with Bowen on the right there. But cross wasn't really good enough, and keeper gathered quite easily.
And Gnome saving me from the wrath of Pinky, who was just about to tear me a new one about my appalling punnery on a Friday evening.
Well,
Leeds United.
I did notice on the YouTube comments at half time that someone was a bit uncharitable about Seb Haller's touch. I'm not sure if we can repeat the gag, going when this is a family show. Anyway.
Being played in midfield at the moment. Haller's come deep and with nobody on him, has actually taken the ball now. He's put the ball through. Not a great ball. Ben Rama's got a lot of work to do. Gets shoved off it, and referee's not having any of it. But that'd be interesting to see again. But Haller took the ball well, but then there was nobody within 10 yards of him to put him under any pressure. So, you'd expect him to do that, but it was a poor ball that gave Ben Rama far too much to do. He really needs to be laying these balls off better, Haller, I'm afraid.
Yeah, not having the best night of his career so far, as the ball is intercepted by another one of those. See, I keep seeing Chico Flores. I've got to say it. All these buns and this all white kit. It's just like watching a team of Chico Floreses out there on the pitch.
West Ham on the break now. Rice has taken it good 30-40 yards into the Leeds box. He's shimmied. Did a nice little step over. Couldn't quite find a colleague, but we've got the ball back. And Souček out to Bowen. By chips, it's a long ball out wide, and Cressel's out there. Let's see if he can stay on his feet. Cressel tries to put the ball in, and it's got it. I think it's a throw in rather than a corner. I don't know if it's my TV screen or is it my eyes. It might be getting a bit misty down there.
It is, yeah. It's foggy, and that's the issue with Cresswell's foot or footwork. There'd be a lot of dew on the pitch there at the minute, and it'd be very, very slippy. There was some great tidying up by Kufal. Then when Rice had poured forward, we lost possession, and we had 5 players the wrong side of the ball. And luckily, or maybe Not luckily, maybe good defensive organisation. Kufal steamed in and just tidied it up. We would have been caught badly out of position otherwise. So just need to be a little bit careful.
52 minutes gone. Leeds United 1, West Ham United 1. Connor Green, no, Connor, it is getting a bit foggy, as we've just sort of noticed. I think either that or someone's let off a flare outside Ellen Road and it's drifting into the stadium. But yeah, it's definitely getting a bit misty out there.
Good work there, Kufal. Oh, he's just beaten to it, but it was some good, nice little triangles there. Ayling coming across the cover. Haller and Kufal playing the ball down the right-hand side, but
Kufal could have made that return pass to him. He bottled that. He could see Ayling coming in there, and he didn't fancy that. He just pulled up slightly. Bit naughty.
Kufal's throw to Bowen in the box. He's trying to wriggle himself some room. Nice little chip in. Haller's that was unlucky from Haller. Nice, clever throw from Kufal. Saw Bowen in space on the run there. He's taken the ball down, works himself to a little bit of space. Lovely little chip in. Haller's controlled it well. First time shot on the turn, which that was going in, but it was Ayling got the block in. Good work all round there.
First big chance of the second half going to West Ham, as Gnome said. The ball played in by Bowen and Haller. It's a really, really good opportunity as he clutches his head and looks to the heavens as if to say, why didn't I put that in the back of the net? Rio, good stuff. Better from it.
Bowen's corner played to the back, and it's nodded back in, I think, by Ogbonna. Let's have a look. Ogbonna, yeah, nods it back in. Haller gets the head on, and it's just dipping under the bar, tipped over by Meslier. Good save. You'd expect it to make the save, but we're forcing saves on it. Another corner comes in. Bowen again. Meslier punches, not very convincingly, but it gets to the edge of the box. And Kufal tries to keep it alive, and it's Ben Rama now out on the left wing. Looking across, cuts across side, long, low shot, not enough oomph on it, and the keeper gathers very easily. A couple of good chances from Haller there. The first one, unlucky, the block, which could have gone anywhere, wasn't more productive. The second one, forced the save. Not the most difficult save, but it did have the keeper concerned, shall we say.
Yes, I'm getting quite concerned at the state of this TV coverage, because it's becoming increasingly difficult to see what's going on down there. But Rio, good spell for West Ham. They're 3 shots within the space of about 90 seconds. Much, much better.
Yeah, and good thing to see is 2 of them from Belair, who hopefully will gain confidence from that. You know, it's good to see him involved. Good to see him having a threat. The first shot he was very unlucky with. The header wasn't particularly threatening, but he made the keeper work a little bit. But yeah, it's good to see him back involved. Hopefully he can gain confidence from this.
I think what's also interesting to see tonight, Gnome, is that we seem to be attempting quite a few shots from outside the box tonight, something you might not necessarily see quite often. But Ben Rama's had a couple of dips from long range, and you just wonder if perhaps that's a tactical decision by David Moyes to say, look, let's test this keeper. He's looked a bit dodgy already, although he's been playing pretty well this season, but had a bit of a dodgy moment in the first half. But what do you make of that? Am I reading too much into that, or do you think that might be tactical?
I'm just applauding Bowen because he's done marvels to win a ball. Some of the donkey work that players don't get sometimes cheered for, but he's won the ball back and taken it away and drawn the foul. Good work from Bowen there. Excuse me. Shots from outside the box.
Shots from outside the box.
I don't mind them, but I'd rather see them a bit better. The one from Ben Rama, yeah, okay, 10 out of 10 for the idea, but it was very, very weak. Now, Kufal's gone down the right-hand side, gets the cross in, and it eludes a lead defender, but it's put out again for a throw-in. Good work from Kufal on the right there, got the cross in early. Looked for a second, it might get its way through, but covering defender covered the first defender.
57th.
Now Ben Rama lose the ball, but he's getting back well there, and and we've actually won a throw in there, and that's Benrahma and Souček between them. Won that throw. Benrahma lost the ball, straight back to try and get it, which is always good to see. Although you'd rather he didn't lose it in the first place, I suppose. But good stuff anyway.
Good stuff. Good stuff. 57 minutes gone. West Ham still level here at Leeds. Fell behind early on in the 6th minute. Retaken penalty put in the back of the net. But the equaliser on 24 minutes. Jared Bowen corner nodded in at the far post by Thomas Souček, who was towering over his marker Dallas to put the ball in the back of the net. West Ham with the best chance of the second half so far, coming from Sebastian Haller. Took a little bit of stick for his first half performance, but 2 very decent chances, both on target within 60 seconds, within 7 or 8 minutes of the first half. So we're hoping for a second goal from West Ham soon. And Pinky, it's probably a bit early to predict it, but, are you seeing us taking 3 points here tonight?
Yeah, I am. I'm absolutely seeing us taking 3 points here tonight because, Leeds are so poor at the back. Sooner or later, we're going to score from another corner kick or something like that. I mean, so the game's definitely there to be won. I mean, one of the things that's actually troubling me at the minute is looking at Benrahma, and I think he bears a striking resemblance to Peter Sellers and the Pink Panther. And just have a look at him. He does have that look about him tonight, and he probably needs to change his appearance. Otherwise, he could get all sorts of stick.
I think that's a great spot. I've got to say, I think that's a very astute observation. There's definitely a bit of Sellers going on there. We agree, team? Rio, you buying that from Pinky?
I'm not convinced. I've just had a marketing thought though. Our commercial department were thinking, hey, Panther, this could be a pink shirt coming next season for us.
Or a salmon one even.
They might be listening.
Those were the days. That's a very in joke. If you'd have to be a long-term member of Knees Up Mother Brown to be able to associate with that one. But
yeah, that is an old one.
No. Are there any other lookalikes that you're seeing in the West Ham team? I mean, we're on lookalikes, and there's not a lot happening on the pitch.
No, not really. Yeah.
There you go.
I still think Souček's got a bit of Boris Karloff about him.
One for the kids there.
Yes. Well, there you go. So that one died a death, didn't it? But,
no. Well, you asked. I said I gave you the answer.
Leeds United 1, West Ham United 1. We are 2/3 of the way through this game. Are we going to get a winning goal? Is it going to be another 3 points on the road for West Ham? Can we push back into the top 5? Robert Snodgrass looks like he's saying, well, I don't know, on the sidelines at the moment in my delayed stream. But one of our options, let's just take a quick look at who we have got on the bench tonight. Darren Randolph, of course, our substitute custodian between the sticks. Ryan Fredericks back on the bench tonight. Johnson and Dawson, of course. Craig Dawson making a rare appearance in the 18-man matchday squad. Mark Noble, of course, taking his regular place on the subs bench. Robert Snodgrass and Manuel Lanzini. No recognised striker on the bench this evening. Could that prove tough for West Ham with Haller not exactly performing? We shall see. But as I said, we are an hour into the game. And it's all gone a bit quiet, Pinky, the last 5 minutes or so. Couple of, we had that flurry, didn't we, a few minutes ago? 3 good chances within 90 seconds, but sort of not a lot happening. Moyes looks like with Alan Irvine, he's perhaps thinking about making a change now.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing is Haller's actually dropped a little bit deeper to try and get more involved in the game. It's a little bit stale at the minute and a touch attritional. Leeds on the attack at the minute, ball come in from the left, easily knocked out. And again, another way. So it's Bowen that time that's gone down. So there's Bowen that slipped, it's Cresswell that slipped. I've seen Balbrena slip. A number of our players are slipping over, and major demerit this for the coaching staff, because you could see this in the first half. And if we lose because a player slips over, and Leeds sneak in for a goal, I'm pinning it squarely on the coaching staff. We pay people to watch the game and look out for this sort of stuff. And if a fat bloke in Essex can see it on the telly, you know, we've got some seriously professional footballers on the sidelines who should be saying the temperature's dropping, it's getting misty, there's dew on the pitch, get the right studs in. Basic football.
It's quite bizarre, actually. I mean, you know, even in something like Formula One, if that starts happening, you're in for a fresh set of tyres. But here we are, and you know, on a football pitch, and I'm sure they've got several pairs of boots each, but no one seems to be sort of, you know, making that change. But it's very notable. It's happened a lot.
It's not like they have to go and buy their own boots, is it, these days? You know, I mean, most of my football career, I had a pair of. I used to go through one, maybe two. I had two pair of boots, maybe, sort of thing. But you know, I had to buy mine. I didn't have sports companies queuing up to give me free boots.
That's where you went wrong.
That. I find it very hard to believe. God, no, I'm sure it's just because they couldn't get to your door in time. That's all.
Yeah, that'll be it. Is that and another Ben Rama slipped over. He's won the ball back. He's cutting across. He's cutting across the square across the box. But again, basically doesn't. He's a bit lucky to win the ball there, but he's gone square across the box and then curled a shot. And again, it's yards over. Yeah, the shots need to be better than that if they're coming from outside the box. So
I just wonder if
thanks for the advice on sponsorship deals, Pink. Is that how it works with the lingerie page on the Littlewoods catalogue with you there? He's not commenting.
Who was that?
Victoria's Secret, was it? Sorry if I said Littlewoods. That's below you.
Listen, you know, you can all deny it, but I know you all do it. Okay.
No
comment. No comment.
Now then, interesting passage of play about to come. We've won a free kick out on the left-hand side of the box, and Benrahma and Cresswell are hovering. This is say left side of the box, about 15 yards from the goal line. So we're looking to get a decent cross in here.
Call it now. We're going to score.
Benrahma takes it and fires it towards goal, but if it was, I think it was a shot, and it's a bit selfish, gone wide and high. Trying to keep catch the keeper out of the near post. Well, it wasn't that far away, but you'd have hoped for a decent in-swinging cross, something for the people in the box to get on the end of for that one rather than the shot.
After a decent first half, he's turned into the player in your Sunday morning team who no one will pass to because he never gives the ball back. You know, it really is a case of, you know, he seems to think he's the only player that can do anything out there. And I think he probably needs...
Ball played in the box to Benrahma, who gathers. Lovely little crossover, but it's cleared at the moment by Leeds. Rice puts it back in the mix, comes out again. Kufal plays the ball out to the right-hand side to Balbuena, who, I don't know if that took a touch off the Leeds player, probably not. No, goal kick. But,
25 minutes left. 25 minutes left to go. Still, Leeds 1, West Ham United 1. I'm just wondering if West Ham should perhaps check the CCTV in the Elland Road changing rooms just to see if there's a guy wandering around with a rather large wax candle doing something that he probably shouldn't be there, given the amount of slipping over that's happening on the pitch there. But just looking at that, Rio, that Benrahma shot, it looks like he spotted the goalkeeper off his line a bit and kind of thought he could fizz one in at the near post there.
Yeah, no, it's quick thinking. It's a bit of a poor execution. I just thought
sorry, but it's interesting. It looked a promising move when the cross has come in. It's a goal kick. Sorry, it looked a lot more promising than it was really. Belloni looked in a promising position there. So sorry, Rio, mate.
That's all right. No, I just thought it was quick thinking. Just poor execution. I think it was a little bit greedy. I think, given what happened in the first half, and they looked a bit suspect in the last corner, that getting the ball into the box from one of our defenders try and head it in would have been a much better option. I've got a couple of comments on the forum, which are a couple of interest. Junko Partners put, as a one-time fullback stroke centre half, so I'd hate to defend against this Leeds team. Everyone running everywhere, overlaps galore, you'll be twisted blood within 5 minutes. I actually think we're defending okay, and with numbers back where needed. Just need possession in their half, a bit of a respite. Another one here regarding watch when Hilaire does get the ball down. There is nothing around him to lay it off to. He's done himself no favours with his poor touch, but there rarely seems to be anyone to have an option when he does the right thing.
Oh, great effort from Ben Rama.
Now that's a bit better. Free kick played from the back. Let's have a look at it. Haller gets something. Now it's Leeds defender heads it out, but it's curling shot chipped in towards the far post by Ben Rama, and that had the keeper scrabbling just in case. It was a good yard wide in the end, but I think he's getting closer.
Yeah, you kind of sense something might be coming soon. The 68th minute, that chance coming for Ben Rama. I make that 4 shots I think he's had tonight. And as Gnome says, the closest he's come yet to teasing a scoring his first goal for the Hammers since making that move from Brentford. Still 1-1, Pinky. Would we, I mean, sort of looking now, we're not that far away from the final whistle. Would we sort of take this if this is how it is to stay? Should we be happy with the point here against a newly promoted team?
No. In a word, because they look eminently beatable tonight. And if you want to advance up the league table, which clearly we do, these are the games you've got to win. When you've got the opportunity, don't miss. It's interesting, Sky have just put a graphic 2 or 3 minutes ago showing the Leeds United attacking areas of the pitch in the second half. And it is all coming down Cresswell's side, the whole lot. So again, we spoke about it at half time. We said Bielsa wouldn't miss it, and he hasn't. So, he's got the word out to his lads. Be interested to see what David Moyes does to counteract that, because, we could get found out down there. But for now, I'm okay with where we are. But a point here, not when there's 3 on offer. You've got to go for 3 points tonight.
No, do you get the sense that both teams think they can win this game here?
I think both teams would probably think they're in for in with a good shout. Just seen a Leeds shot, ball came out from the corner, and it was Clich had a volley from the edge of the box. Good, solid, hard, got everything behind it. As did Fabianski. Good, unspectacular, but good, solid goalkeeping. I think there might have been questions asked had anything happened there, because Bamford was right in front of Fabianski. Certainly offside, so I don't think anything would have counted. But these days, you never know. But as a Leeds player on the pitch now, on the floor, there are 11 on the pitch, but 1 on the floor. But he seems to have got up, so it can't have been that serious.
We are we're entering the final 20 minutes now, and still no changes from David Moyes, Rio, but. Do you think he's perhaps worried about changing the team when we're doing okay? We're not obviously setting it alight out there, but we're doing all right. And who would you be looking to perhaps bring on if to kind of shuffle it up a little bit, if anyone?
See, this is the worry, because we haven't got a lot of options on the bench, and particularly not a lot of options with pace. I think Fornell was having a bit of a quiet game. He could be the one who potentially might get replaced, but you're going to replace him with a Mark Noble or Snodgrass, who, let's be honest, make Stephen Hawking look quick at times. The only other option is Lanzini, and do you want to sacrifice any defensive ability to put him on? I wouldn't be changing anything at the moment. I mean, this Leeds team, as we've seen all season, played to the very, very last minute.
Yeah. So
we've got to be careful and changing things for the sake of just changing and freshening up isn't necessarily a great move. With their lack of options on the bench, we've got to be really very cagey when it comes to this.
Yeah, of course, Lanzini has made the odd appearance here and there, hasn't he? But I think Snodgrass has made a total of one appearance so far, and that is an 89th minute sub in the Premier League, at least, as an 89th minute sub at Tottenham. He's only league
could I
appearance so
just
far.
highlight, in the interest of balance, some good work from Haller there, chasing down a back pass and forcing Leeds into a throw-in deep in their own territory, which we've now won back and has put us on the attack. He kept the goalkeeper honest, and it was. Having said that, Leeds are now bringing it away, but again we blocked that off and we're on the attack again. Benrahma inside to Souček. Souček's looking back to Ry Bowen's on there. Plays the ball into the box to Haller, who's looking to turn, but just gives it away again. So I've just praised him, and that. We've had the good and the bad of Haller there. He's looking to turn, but just let the ball get away from him, and that was terrible. Oh, Cresswell's gone down again, and well played, Declan Rice, to rescue that one. I'll leave Pinky to talk about footwear, but it does worry me. Benrahma actually on the attack now into Bowen. Bowen's in the box. And tries to curl one into far post, but gets the angle completely wrong. A good break, but how many? Is anyone keeping count how many times Cresswell's ended up on his backside?
It's 5 or 6. 5 now, is it? Yeah.
5. I mean, I've actually got a pair of slingbacks I wear on every other Saturday that will give me more stability on the pitch than Cresswell's boots tonight. I mean, he went down then and he started banging the floor with his fist. Don't do that, son. You knew what you'd done in the first half. You were going on your backside, and you didn't change your boots at half time. You're a professional footballer.
Leeds have made another change, by the way, gentlemen. Tyler Roberts has come on for Bamford, interestingly. I'm not familiar with Roberts, so you'll have to pardon me if I don't know if that's a like-for-like swap, but I think that's slightly surprising to see Bamford come off.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, we were saying a few minutes ago, he hasn't exactly been, at his best form so far tonight. But you'd think, it's a strange substitution to make, known with sort of 14 minutes left, 15 minutes left to go, taking off your key striker.
If he's got a knock, then fine. But you'd think that you'd be looking to him. That's a lovely ball from Benrahma down the line. That's Rice, plays the ball through. Fornals is into position there. A foot wide. A lovely, lovely move. Benrahma, Rice, Fornals. Somebody give him lessons in finishing. It's a lovely ball. The lead defender has committed himself. I think Fornals has fallen over in doing that shot there. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's got a leg.
Definitely stretching for it, wasn't he?
That's a golden opportunity. We are not taking chances, and one that good. Well, anyway, Bowen's won the ball back here. Lovely turn from Benrahma. Makes himself. He's pulled back there. Referee's allowing play to go on. No real advantage there. I think he's going to bring that back. Yeah, quite right. And a yellow card. Oh no, not a yellow card. It's the spray. But a lovely little turn though. That'll be on the Soccer AM showboat thing. And if they still do that, I don't watch it in ages, I'll be honest. But anyway, free kick to West Ham. Let's just see. So it's about 30 yards out, right hand side, in midfield. Our right hand side. Cresswell looking at it at the moment. Just see what happens here. It's actually taken by Kufal. Well, Leeds living a charmed life there. It was Kufal who took the cross there, and we're looking at it get on. And it's who's on the end of it?
Balbuena.
Yeah, Balbuena's on the end of it. Good save. Definitely not flappy hands there, I'm afraid, but yeah, I think he's kind of redeemed himself a little bit with that one, the keeper. It looks as if he's about 12.
It's a very strong save, to be fair, because that's a great downward header from Balbuena there, Rio, and that's going in, as Gnome said.
That's twice in 2 minutes.
That's a fantastic save.
Yeah. Best save of the night for you?
Absolutely. It's a thunderous header. He couldn't do anything else with that. And the keeper's got his hand to it. And everything he did wrong in the first half, he's redeemed himself massively there. Yeah. Fantastic save.
Yeah, it's a really, really good header from Balbuena. But West Ham United again, it's still Leeds United 1, West Ham United 1. And we're approaching the final 13 minutes or so now. Still, the goal won't come. We're still waiting for that first goal of the second half. But both sides have had their chances. But Pinky, I think it's fair to say that West Ham have probably had the better chances so far since the interval.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And you know, just a couple of words about Ben Rama. You can see why the chairman signed him. You know, the Will Salthouse would have been on the phone to him saying, "I've got a player for you who I know West Ham United supporters are going to love." Okay, because he is an absolute showboating, give me the ball merchant who wants to be seen as the guy. I don't think he's necessarily going to win you any games, but he is a player that our supporters will like to see. Yeah, and therefore, David Moyes' nightmare.
I'm sorry, yes. But Oliver's doing his best. I've seen Ben Rama hauled to the floor a minute ago. I've now seen somebody go straight through the back of Haller there, yeah, right in front of him. Just looking at it now. Oh, he's just got it. He's back of his head there. Ball was trying to play through to Roberts, I think, in the middle there, but nothing doing. As we're on the attack now, it's getting very stretched. Both teams beginning to have a go the last few minutes. Cresswell's brought down there, and the referee finally gives one. Helder Costa there. Ball's played it to Cresswell. And Costa just goes and kicks the back of his leg, and can't really complain about that, although he's done the standard what me look to the referee. But so free kick in a good position here with a little over 10 minutes to play. Just looking to and lying in there. There's Fornals and Cresswell are stood over the ball. If it comes from Fornals and swinging, Cresswell slight out swinger.
Get there! Come on!
Get in there!
Come on.
Again, a set piece, but we'll have that. Perfect.
Leeds United 1, West Ham United 2. It is, as Gnome says, once again, a set piece. Rio, we're back in front. What about that?
Fantastic delivery from Cresswell. Ogbonna does what Ogbonna does really well. He gets up in front, just behind the man. Easy goal, easy goal. And it's like we said, what I said a couple of minutes ago. Don't bother shooting. Get the crosses in, because they are so poor in the air. They're there for the taking.
It's all about the delivery, that one. I mean, they might say that they might have marked Ogbonna better. They might have done better by sticking somebody slightly more than half his height on him, perhaps. But you know, that cross was just begging to be nodded in. Great delivery from Cresswell. Thank God his footwear didn't let him down at that point.
It's Cooper, the captain, I think, Pinky, who is the player who should have been marking Ogbonna there, but for the second time tonight, free headers for West Ham inside the box. Criminal stuff from Bielsa's side there.
It's the sort of stuff that any sort of English coach stroke manager would be drilling his players hour after hour. You think of the former Leeds United manager, George Graham, and what he would be saying at this point in time, conceding the 2 goals that they have tonight. And I'm afraid that's the sort of stuff that you've got to eradicate on the training ground Monday to Friday. But looking at this tonight, Ben Rama's looks a lively player tonight, And I think he's now going to be a problem for David Moyes, because against this Leeds United team, who are going to give you lots of time and space because they're chucking players forward, Ben Rama looks good. I'm not sure he's got the discipline to play in kind of a structured way that I think Moyes might prefer. And, you know, but on the way Ben Rama's sort of showboated tonight, Moyes is going to get slaughtered if he leaves him out of the next game. And, you know, and it's the difference between having a player that can really cause damage, which I don't think Ben Rama's done tonight, but he has looked very nice to watch. And I'm not sure that's what we need at the minute. Maybe I'm being harsh there, but, you know, if we'd had, say,
let's give the ball to Ben Rama, tonight, who's going forward.
Again, lovely.
Cross it towards Halibut. I think Halibut is going to, that's going to be a free kick. Yeah.
Backing up what you're saying, Pinky, really there. What?
Yeah. I mean, it's when you've got acres of time and space on the ball, when you've got the skill that Ben Rama clearly has, you're going to look very good. You know, against the opposition. Noble coming on now, but you know, against tougher opposition or against teams that are a bit better at defending, I'm still not convinced he's special enough to really unlock defences, and his frailties and the other parts of his game might expose us. So Noble's coming on for Ben Rama, so we're going from quick feet to not so quick feet these days. I think it's fair to say.
Is that is that one you might have left for a few minutes longer, Gnome? You know, with Ben Rama sort of, you know, in his element at the moment, or do you think that's a fair shout by David Moyes?
It's a predictable shout. I don't think you could make the argument either way. I wouldn't really complain about that. We did also see Johnson had his,
I was going to say that,
jacket off there. I don't know. He hasn't come on yet. I don't know where that will go, but I slightly disagree with Pinky because you say he's a bit of a crowd pleaser when he wins games. Well, I've enjoyed watching Ben Rama today, and it's been something that we haven't actually had players who can run at players in the squad in recent years. And you know, it's something different that we haven't got. So I think he brings something a little bit different to what we've had over the last 12 months or so. You know, whatever the politics behind his signing, and like Pinky, I'm not entirely sure that Moyes was overly involved in the arrival. But we got Johnson coming on now.
Okay,
we're just sort of seeing who's gonna. Well, he stood there at the side anyway. In your own time, ref.
Just a quick word on Noble there. He's taken the captain's armband, and you know, having basically alluded to him as slow-footed when he came on, his first touch was a sublime touch to send Bowen flying down the flank. And I'm thinking, you know, Mark Noble, please accept my apologies because I gave a thinly veiled bit of criticism and you spanked my ass for me straight away.
Johnson's replaced Bowen, by the way. He has come on now. And as an aimless ball was played back to the Leeds goalkeeper. So we've got little over 5 minutes plus stoppage to play. Not too much stoppage, I think. Probably the standard three the 3 or 4 that they sort of give to account for the substitutions. Although we ought to remember that the 2 Leeds substitutions, or 2 of the 3 substitutions, occurred at the interval, so that shouldn't have taken up too much time. So, so Leeds obviously are now going to be trying to force this.
Just going to say then, an interesting moment where Mark Noble picked up a loose ball some 35, 40 yards from goal. Had a look either side of him, and there was no one within 25 yards, with Moyes having, of course, just taken both wingers off. So I guess it's fair to say, Rio, that we're not going to be, where it's very unlikely we're going to see a third goal from West Ham coming up. And, you know, it's just going to be a question of just trying to see this out now.
I don't know. We just almost went on the break there. And we're not going to bomb forward. We're going to play it cagey, but
Oh,
There we
there's a
go.
great ball.
Fornells is breaking down the right hand side. Puts the cross in. Come on,
Oh,
Zeb. We overhead. Oh, what a chance!
Well,
Great
again,
ball win by
great stuff from
Fornells.
Haller there.
And Haller acrobatically overhead. It's bang on target. Good save for the keeper. But just as you were saying, we're not going to score. We yeah, that's the commentator's curse, mate, isn't it?
once again. I think we've all come a cropper tonight at some point. But
again, was it a lovely ball from Noble down to Fornells there?
Yeah.
it was.
No, you know,
Yes, Noble playing the ball down the right to Fornells, crossing it in, and I'm trying to think, was it Watford that Hilaire scored that overhead
Yeah.
goal against?
It was.
Vicarage
Anyway,
Road
Cresswell's
last
finally got himself up to the corner flag. He's taking his time. Corner comes in from Cresswell, aimed near post to Rice, but nothing doing really there. We're a bit loose there, but Kufal picks the ball up, launches it in the general direction of the penalty area. It's bobbling around. Nobody quite knows where it is. And Ogbona's on the ball there. And he's trying to get across in.
oh,
It's hit the post. Oh, I'm not quite sure how that happened there. Is that Balbuena's? Balbuena, wasn't it, who flicked the header? It's come back off the post from Ogbonna, showing his skills as a right winger there, getting the cross in. We could have had this put to bed in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Ball played up now. It's gone into our area. That's thing. I can't remember his name now. Doesn't get across and it's blocked out. That was it's the number 11, Roberts. That's it. A substitute. That's why I didn't recognise him. It was a long ball played in towards him, but yeah, Ogbonna does supremely well, and it's the same. Very unlucky not to be 3-1 up. Corner to Leeds anyway. Played in near post, cleared at near post, and West Ham tried to get out. It's way back in the Leeds half now.
We're 2-1 up away from home.
Yeah.
And we've got one central defender, working some magic on the wing to sling the cross across
to the other
another central defender to try and head the ball into the net. And we're 2-1 up away from home with 5 minutes to go. Negative Moyes. I mean,
yes.
shocking stuff from West Ham. It's we're clearly not trying to win the game.
Yeah, it looks like the third substitution's about to be made. Snodgrass is getting prepared. Lovely touch. Rio just said it there. Lovely touch from Haller to bring the ball down. He's just done it again. Swung the ball from Fornells. Haller's actually sort of improved the last 15, 20 minutes. Fornells made a mess of it though and gives the ball away. But fair play at Haller. He's been plugging away even when his touch has sort of let him down. His head's come up a little bit the last few minutes. Leeds on the attack now though. Ball played in, but it's cleared at the edge of the box. On the right hand side now, Leeds again chipped in. Oh, now Rodrigo should have scored there. Headed it straight to Fabianski. Let that be a lesson to us. We need to be. He's got in between Balbuena and Ogbonna there, and really free header. Really should have done better, but easy save for Fabianski. That should be a lesson to us. We're in stoppage time and 4 minutes have been announced. We're just 30 seconds in.
Okay, 4 added on. So just over 3.5 for West Ham to see out and potentially rise to 5th. Gnome says that's a really good chance for Leeds there. The ball coming in. It should be 2-2, but West Ham living a little bit dangerously. Well, one thing I wanted to mention actually just before that opportunity, Balbuena, of course, as we saw hit the post there, could have had 2 goals in the second half, of course. Really strong header a few minutes earlier, and could be celebrating a brace himself. But I mean, in terms of the amount of shots that we've seen so far, that both teams really peppering the goal. We've had 12 shots from Leeds so far and 19 from West Ham in this game, which I think is pretty similar to what we pulled off against Man U last week. So we are in, as Gnome says, we're in the final 3 minutes of the added on time. West Ham hanging on and looking good, Pinky, so far. 3 minutes to go.
Drilled across. taken down by Haller, tapped back, and it's cleared. Cool play by Haller there, who's a different player the last 10 minutes. Last few minutes, Nobles picked up a yellow card. Didn't quite see what the foul was for because they were showing the replay of the Rodrigo miss. So I don't know why, but he's been yellowed. So Leeds obviously now pushing forward, trying to seek that little opening there. We've got just over 2 minutes left. Cross is finally played in. Fabianski collects it. And of course, as is their want, the keeper goes down onto the floor just to get his breath back and eat away a few seconds.
And that is a magnificent 101st booking of Mark Noble's West Ham career. So
what a great stat.
He is way out in front. The next nearest after him. Anyone want to take a guess?
From the team tonight that's playing?
No. Of all time.
Oh, of all time. Oof. Colton Cole.
Good effort, but time for a yellow, John Moncur.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Makes sense when you think about it.
With a mere 64.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ogbonna's defensive header there was superb. Brilliant header from Haller, and Noble's now played Fornals out on the right. Now Fornals is just going to sort of put his foot on this for a minute or so. Plays it back to Noble, back to Fornals out on the wing, into Haller. Haller plays. That would have been. You can't blame Haller for that one. I don't think Noble read the ball. But again, good work there from Rice to come and get the ball back. And Rice to Johnson. It's all out on the touchline. Rice to Souček turns nicely, keeps the ball, looking for support. Oh, short ball to Noble was a fine ball there, but he overplayed it. Leeds come away with it. We got 30 seconds left as Leeds come forward now, and Oliver slightly gets in the way, and Souček buys the foul. 20 seconds left. I think that's going to be about it. I think.
Pinky, I was just wondering how many of those yellow cards John Moncur got that he would have been up at the bookies at the end of the game to collect his winnings.
Well,
must have been a few.
The thing about Moncur, of course, he was always in red and naps here, wasn't he? Because he got an appearance fee, and he'd be in red and naps here going, "Go on, Gaffer, stick me on. I've got the kids' school fees have just come in." And to be fair to him, I thought he did well for us, John Moncur. I thought, we always knew he was likely to get booked, but I think a good, honest pro, a kind of player I like.
I liked him a lot.
Snodgrass is on for Fornals. We're now 28 seconds past the 4 minutes.
Come on, ref.
End of the game.
There we go.
Well played, West Ham.
There you go. And that is that. The match has finished. Leeds United 1, West Ham United 2. The Hammers rise to 5th in the Premier League once again. Leeds scored the opening goal of the game, a retaken penalty after Fabianski was deemed to have encroached coming off his line. And then the Hammers levelled on 24 minutes, a Jared Bowen corner, and Thomas Souček beating Dallas to the ball and nodding the ball just over the line before it was hooked away. The winning goal coming 10 minutes from the end of time. An Aaron Cresswell free kick delivered to the far post where Angelo Ogbonna, who's receiving all the plaudits from his teammates right now, rose highest to nod into the corner. It's another away win for the Hammers, Gnome, and just about deserved it, haven't we, tonight?
I think so. I think we were the better side. I think I'm slightly disappointed with Leeds, I'll be honest. I haven't watched much of them this season. So I've not sort of made a point of watching their live games, but I just had it in my head that they were a bit better than what I've seen. And not complaining, mind, but I've just thought if there is a wider grin than Ogbonna's there a second ago in the country at the moment, I'd be amazed to see it. Listen, an away win is not to be sniffed at. Those of us who go back a long way will be relishing this, because the away win at Leeds is even, I know times have changed, they're not what they were, but just the idea of getting an away win at Leeds is always nice to get. So yeah, I'll have that. That's a good performance. I think we were worth the 3 points, and well done.
Great stuff. And Rio, Leeds United 1, West Ham United 2. West Ham 20 points on the table, on the board after just 12 games. We're halfway to survival already, and we're still not at Christmas. Amazing stuff. Scenes.
Yeah, I think that's our joint quickest amount of games we've got to reach that 20-point margin.
Is that right?
We're halfway
Okay.
to safety, as you say. And also, Gnome just said it, it's a very rare away win at Leeds. I mean, the last time was when Nigel Winterburn scored in 2000. Before that, at Ellen Road, you've got to look back to, I think it's 1978.
Wow.
So that is a very rare occurrence. That was
It
a
was my
very
17th
good
birthday,
performance.
I think. That one. I think Alvin Martin was on the goal scoring sheet that day, if I remember rightly. I may be going a bit loose.
Sorry, just a point of order. You mean the great Alvin Martin, don't you?
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I thought that went without saying, Pinky, but
No. I'm thinking of starting one of those petitions that you can do at Parliament, where if you get 100,000 signatures, that they can actually, force a legislative change. And I actually want it to be a law that whenever you utter the words Alvin Martin, they must be prefixed with the words the great.
I'm sure they'll be grateful in Parliament. I mean, it's not like they've got anything else to do at the moment, is it?
Pinky, another priceless win, as we've said already, as Rio and Gnome have said, for the Hammers, an away win. First win at Ellen Road for 20 years since the great Nigel Winterburn scored the winning goal. Well deserved, really, overall.
Yeah, I think so. And, a point on the road is never a bad result. A win on the road is always a fabulous result, regardless of opposition.
Yeah.
In truth, I don't think Leeds United were at their best tonight, but let's give ourselves some credit there. I think, for my money tonight, we had the two standout players on the field in Declan Rice and Ben Rama. They were the two that caught the eye. I'm not totally sold on Ben Rama for reasons I previously explained, but he looked attractive tonight, and you can see that actually picking up on Gordon's point, he'll give us a certain point of difference, perhaps, against some opponents. But tonight, an away win at Leeds, you would take it all day long, because how often do we criticise our lads for not being able to put away the promoted teams? Normally who we lose to each season, we drop points against the teams that have come up. And yet there we are tonight. We've gone away to Ellen Road, and we haven't exactly put them to the sword, but we've played, I think, reasonably well within us in a slightly weakened team, because I think any team we put out without Antonio is going to be a bit weakened. And we've come away with 3 points and an improved goal difference. I mean, what more do we want?
Interesting. I mean, we said we weren't perhaps playing at our best tonight, but we've gone away from home and we've created 19 shots at goal. I mean, that's a pretty rare thing. Eight shots on target. But I think you made the point, Pinky, during the second half. You said that some of it was, it's attritional, I think was the description you used, and that was certainly the case at times. But that's the sign of a good side. I mean, I think we sort of expected a game tonight, didn't we? We thought there would be chances, and there's, looking at the stats, 32 shots between the two teams, 13 for Leeds, 19 for West Ham. But yeah, I mean, on that point, that's a pretty decent statistic, isn't it, to go away from home and create that many chances?
It is, but I would temper it with the comment I made in the first half. I'm not sure that what we're watching is truly good football. I think the fact that the supporters aren't in the stadiums is having a very significant impact on the intensity of the games. And I think just the amount of space that players are having in match after match, they're nice to watch on TV and all the rest of it, but let's not kid ourselves. This is not the normal standard of football that you would get in front of a proper stadium audience. And, it's nice to look at on telly, but don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
Okay. Good stuff. Pinky, I don't know if you can perhaps just check the XG stats for the game out if you get the opportunity. We will, of course, ask you to have a look at the Leeds forum, which will be
I'm
quite
gonna go get
delightful.
some refreshment first. I will be back.
Well, let's get our priorities right, of course. We will, of course, be going to.
Got to adjust his girdle.
We're going to be looking at. We'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at the XG stats. So we'll be looking at the Leeds United reaction from their fan base. We'll be looking at the reaction of the West Ham fans on our YouTube live stream. Let us know what you think of the game. Who you thought was, West Ham's outstanding players on the evening, and of course, Rio will be taking a look at the KUMB.com forum match thread in just a moment. Before we do that, I want to come to the panel for your man of the match nominations. One or two real outstanding candidates out there tonight. Gnome, I'll start with you. Who's your top man tonight for the Hammers?
Sorry, did you say me?
Yes, please. Yeah. No.
Yes,
You're
he's had
man of the
match. Pinky's mentioned Declan. He's mentioned Ben Rama, both of whom caught the eye. Ben Rama particularly when he was running at place. But I think I'm actually going to plump for Ogbonna, because when Leeds were getting crosses in left, right, and centre, he was clearing them out. And the goal really just was sort of cherry on the top there, I think. I think Ogbonna I'll give it to.
Okay, good stuff. Well, it's nice to have a slightly, and he's certainly been playing really well this season, of course, hasn't he? Good to see him crop up with the winning goal there. Rio, what about you, buddy?
For me, I'm going to point out a couple of different players as well. I thought Kofeld and Creswell both contributed significantly as well, Thought Kofeld's very underrated. He got forward well, defended well. Creswell, despite his ice skates, managed to put in some quality delivery, which obviously led to the winner. But for a man of his age and his injury record, which, as we've said time and time again, has affected him, he was up and down that pitch against a really fit Leeds team.
Yeah.
And he could have started in there. He did incredibly well. But I'm going to give it to Ben Rama because, as Pinky said, he's one of those players who's going to make a lot of West Ham fans very happy. He loves having the ball. He loves running at players. He's going to excite people. And for a first start today, he did enough there to convince me that when we can get into stadiums, I'm going to be out of my seat 99% of the time as soon as he gets the ball.
And not just
for
one of those middle-age trips to the toilet you need quite regularly, I guess. So, but no, I think I'd go along with that. I think Ben Rama made things happen tonight. He excited us watching the game. I think there was quite a few players who had a decent input. Bowen, industrious, not particularly spectacular, but worked really hard. This is probably going to be quite a contentious one, but I thought Haller had a decent second half. Really struggled in the first half, and he had those two. Let's not forget, he could have scored twice within the first 10 minutes of the second half. The two headers tipped over the bar within the space of about 60 seconds. The overhead effort that was also goal bound. I mean, theoretically, he could have had a hat trick there in the second half. So I thought that was a really, really strong performance from our much maligned striker there after the break. But I think, it's difficult to look any further than Ben Rama, purely because he was the one who, he looked like making things happen and, some lovely footwork, really. And we're West Ham supporters. That's what we want to see. You want to see players who can do things on the ball, excite the fans and, get the crowd going. So, yeah, I'd go with you, Rio. I think just about, tipping it would be Ben Rama. But, I think I'd give Haller a runners-up man of the match award for that second half alone. Pinky, you mentioned Declan Rice and Ben Rama. Who would you pick out of the two? Or someone else, maybe?
I'm determined not to give it to Ben Rama because I'm down on him. But if I was there tonight, and I saw a player who wanted to get on the ball, who wanted to take players on, who showed a bit of fancy footwork, I'd be cheering him all night long. Be no doubt about that. My reservations are he probably wants to be on the ball a bit too much. you know, dare I say it, and sometimes the simple pass to a teammate is what's required. But he played well tonight. But for me tonight, you know, Leeds United, they had their star player, Phillips. I don't think he's in Declan Rice's class, if I'm being honest. I think Rice absolutely showed he was the much better player on the night. And I'm not saying Phillips played particularly badly, but it is astonishing to see Declan Rice at 21 is now looking a really good footballer. Okay, and we all know where it's going to end up. But I thought Rice was good tonight. Ultimately, I'd probably give it to Rice because I'm a bit more defensive orientated than some of the lads. I hear what Gordon's saying about Ogbonna. Balbrainer was almost in with the shout for it for a while tonight.
Could have had 2 goals, of course, as we mentioned. Yeah, in the second half too.
You know, and again, there's some alarm bells ringing in my head when I said, near 5 minutes from time.
Yeah.
We're winning 2-1, and both our centre backs are attacking. I'm thinking, was this like my own personal episode of Ashes to Ashes? And I've gone back to 1974, and I'm actually watching the Dutch team. Kind of like, so I don't know. And it all adds up to me, this thing where I'm saying that the standard of football actually isn't that great. It's entertaining, it's oohs and ahs and what have you. But I hope when people are watching this at home, they know what they're watching, and they're not watching genuinely competitive games at the moment.
Yeah.
And I've spoken about it before. I don't like using the word brand and things like that because it's all sort of a bit Brady-esque. But the Premier League, in forcing these games to go ahead, they're actually damaging their brand, in my opinion, because the standard is not where it should be. And that's not the players, it's the environment in which they're playing. And I can see people turning off in droves unless they're careful, because this isn't real. This isn't real football. It really isn't.
But it seems to be making. I mean, we saw it at the end of last season, didn't we? That it seems to be making for a much more level playing field in a sense. We've seen some crazy games so far. I mean, you will all. I think we always look back to the Villa and Liverpool game, but it does make you wonder that would West Ham be in this position if the stadiums were full, if they were playing in front of an expectant home crowd that wouldn't be as forgiving as perhaps an empty stadium is, and one or two other, Southampton as well, doing really well.
That's where I'm coming from, because the difference a split second is making between a player being put under pressure and not quite having the technical ability to bring the ball under immediate control, and having, because of everyone's just playing at 99.5% rather than 100%, suddenly they've got that extra fraction of a second. And don't get me wrong, they're all good players, but the players who aren't as good as the very best are looking better than what they really are, because they're not being put under pressure to the same extent. And I think we're seeing lots and lots of goals this season because of that fact. And I just wonder when the supporters come back in. I don't think it's because we expect too much. I just think that the application from every single player goes up fractionally, and that's the difference.
Very good point, actually. I think there. One place we're not seeing lots of goals, of course, so far this season is in West Ham's net, because we've been very strong at the back. I think only Tottenham and Chelsea have conceded fewer goals. Oh, Man City as well have conceded fewer goals than the Hammers so far this season. So that's it's a strange one. I think you're absolutely right, Pink. I think it's made for some very, very strange results. But I'm kind of quite enjoying it this season. The fact that the Arsenal are struggling and Man City and Man United are it's only 7th and 8th, whereas usually they'd be sort of 3rd or 4th guaranteed. And it certainly seems to be opening, the whole thing up a little bit. So we'll see what happens as it goes on. Man in the Match Awards, Gnome going for.
I'm just going to go to Bielsa, lads.
Okay, good stuff. We'll come back to that in a minute, Gnome. Thank you. Gnome going for Ogbonna, Pinky going for Declan Rice, myself and Rio going for Ben Rama. Lots of love on the YouTube chat for Ogbonna, Connor Green, Steve Palmer, Hobo, David May, all felt that Ogbonna was top man. Eamon Green as well, and Steve Palmer thought Souček had a really good game tonight. Jiri Kramaric, also a fan of Souček's performance tonight. And Dino Salmi saying that he told us Ben Rama was something special, a little bit of X factor. I think that was certainly the case tonight. Miklet also saying Ben Rama was good tonight. Eamon Green, going with Pinky's choice. Damon Rice saying he's a class act. He's a baller as well. Miklet, so yeah, man of the match, Rice or Ben Rama. Ian Hudson saying Ben Rama justified his selection tonight. But yeah, good stuff. Thank you for all your nominations, of course, for Man of the Match awards and your company tonight. We're going to be looking at Bielsa's interview very soon. Gnome's keeping a beady eye on that one for us. Before we do that, let's have a quick look at the two teams' forums just to see what the fans are saying after the game. We'll start with West Ham first. We'll start with the Happy Hammers, Rio, and see what the KUMB.com match thread participants are saying about West Ham's latest away win.
Yeah, everyone's obviously absolutely jubilant. Craig Tooney 609 has put, fantastic win. Generally never thought we were in trouble. Defensively, I thought we looked great. Shout out to Kufel, was great tracking back his runners, particularly in the first half. Huge credit to Moisey, tactically spot on against a very fat-looking Leeds side. Palermo got a little justified criticism, but a big man out there does present the opposition problems. Saeed was man of the match for me, always positive, but to make things happen. We'll be interested to see how his end product develops. Neathine has thought, I'm loving this new West Ham, whereby effort is the #1 priority. Moyes and his team have raised their fitness levels to standards unheard of. Ben Rama, man of the match for me. A couple more games under his belt and he's going to be a star player for us. Unfortunately, Haller gets the minge of the match. Luckily, it was only one time he go the ball way that they led to a goal for them. Better sides would have punished us. But can't fault of any of the players, even the ones who made a few mistakes. They left everything out there on the pitch tonight against a very fit Leeds team. Just another one here is Junko Partner. Cracking game, high quality entertainment. Technically superb in the second half, end up deserved winners. Hilaire will have better nights, but he was decent enough. Chin up, big man. There's a couple of other comments. The likes of Funky Chicken. He's put a rather lengthy essay commenting on the game, which is probably best not read out on air by me because A, my throat's going, and B, it would take so bloody long I'd lose the viewers. But yeah, everyone's absolutely ecstatic and rightly so.
Wonderful. Thank you for that summary, Rio. Pinky, I'm guessing the view on the Leeds forum isn't quite as happy as the ones, the comments Rio's just read out.
I think we're approaching the point of the season where the Marcelo Bielsa loving might just be starting to fade. I think he's now gone from the one in the nightclub that looked absolutely gorgeous after a double gallon of Stella to, in the cold light of day, they're having a few doubts. I think it's fair to say they are horrified at their ability to defend corner kicks. I mean, to a man on marching on together, and Bielsa's copping a bit of flack. They're pointing out, their squad is way for thin. They haven't got the depth, and you understand that with a promoted team. And all throughout this, it is just gloom and doom, which is lovely to see. To be fair, I think you'll look forward to do the opposition view this week. It's just. It really is. They're in need of a reality check reading this because, I'll read a couple of them out here now in terms of what's going on. If Pochettino has watched this, then no way he'd be picking the phone up. Delusional, I think that covers that. Because somehow I don't think Pochettino is hanging around for the Leeds United job. Call it a stab in the dark. Next one from White Rose, who's a reserve player according to their sort of descriptions. The whole team has been crap tonight. A good start to the season is but a memory now. You know, sit and miss, but let's be honest, we have been pants since the international break. And that's one of their moderators, Irish Ian. I fully agree with you, Irish Ian. I think you have been pants since the international break. I mean, this is going to be comedy gold for you, this Graham, this week. But
Good.
I mean, generally speaking, what I'm reading there are the comments of supporters who are supporting a team that have come up from the Championship and are finding out that after the initial burst of enthusiasm, what a tough slog the Premier League is. Because if you can get your best 11 on the field every single week, that is half the battle. And perhaps that is the secret of what David Moyes has done since Project Restart. More often than not, Antonio accepted, he's got our best 11 players on the field week in, week out. And it makes a difference. And Leeds United there tonight, their supporters are basically saying it's bare bones. And they're now essentially realising their bottom 6, 7 material.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, only one winning 6 for Villa since, for Leeds since they won 3-0 at Aston Villa at the end of October. Beaten 4-1 at home by Leicester, beaten 4-1 at Crystal Palace, held Arsenal to a goalless draw, and managed that very good win at Everton. Very unusual 1-0 win for Leeds, but beaten at Chelsea last week 3-1 and beaten by West Ham tonight. So certainly heading the wrong way. I just wonder, Pinky.
2 words for Leeds United supporters. Never mind Pochettino. Sam Allardyce. Okay.
Well, who knows?
And dare I say it, they'll go from the all-out attack of Marcelo Bielsa to maybe Angus Kinnear having to pick the phone up and say, Mr. Allardyce, is there any chance? Because it may come down to that.
Well, we shall see. Of course, Big Sam out of work for the last couple of years and yearning, we understand, for an opportunity to come back into the game. But it makes you wonder. I just wonder, Pinky, if there's any calls for Bielsa's resignation or calling for him to be sacked, as is often the case when a team's beaten by West Ham.
They're not quite brave enough. No one on that particular website is quite brave enough to say it yet.
Right.
And I think that's fair enough because, I was praising him at the start of, as a manager that wants to win games. And if I was a Leeds United supporter, I'd say, well, this is what I want to watch. But of course, the other side of the coin is the Allardyce doctrine, which was always, what supporters like to watch is winning games. And somewhere between the two lies the truth. But given the fact they've been out of the Premier League for 20 years, I'm not so sure that the owners of Leeds United are going to run the risk of sliding into the Championship just so they can be nice to Marcelo Bielsa.
Yeah.
And I might be going down to Paddy Powell's or whatever your investment advisor is, and just saying, do you know what? Bielsa could be under real pressure here.
Well, it's one we'll certainly watch with interest as the weeks and months go on. Of course, the man we are talking about, Marcelo Bielsa, has just been talking to Sky Sports via his interpreter. Gnome has been keeping an eye.
Come back to me because we've got David Moyes now.
Well, there you go. We are live and these things happen. We've left it too late. And Moisey, the Moyster, is coming up now. So we'll go to Gnome for a double review in just a few minutes. Rio, what do you make of Bielsa at Leeds? I mean, they seem to love him there, don't they? But do they love their Premier League status more?
They love him, and rightly so. He's lauded throughout the world. Guardiola says he's a massive fan. He was very much inspired by him. What he tries to do, though, is going to backfire because of the truncated season from last year and this one. We're playing basically a year and a half's football in the space of 12 months, really. And the way he sets his teams up to play, it's so high intensity, high press. It's all about the fitness, and they haven't got the biggest squad. We think we've got problems. They're not far behind us in terms of strength and depth. They're getting those players to put in those kind of performances week in, week out in the truncated, as I said, like you're playing 18 months football in the space of virtually 12.
Yeah.
Their fitness level's going to suffer. It's going to be hard work. They started off like a house on fire, rightly so. But we've seen the last few weeks, it's catching up with them. Tonight, it sounds weird, but we looked the fitter side at the end. Now, that Leeds high press, high fitness, it wasn't there to see.
Mm-hmm.
And they,
well, I mean, I think you made the...
I know it's not. They had, was it 64% possession?
Yeah, yeah.
But I can't remember them keeping hold of the ball. The amount of times they just wasted the ball and gave it straight back to us, I can't remember them having any kind of sustained kind of, having a bit of passing around the back, any kind of sustained possession, which really threatened us. And they just gave it away back to us like time and time again. They were so sloppy, it was unreal.
I think on that point, Rio, there was a stat I saw a few moments ago that I think despite all that possession, twice as much as West Ham enjoyed during the game, I think both teams had 24 or 25 touches of the ball in the opposition penalty area. So absolutely backing up what you're saying there about the fact that for all the possession they had, they essentially wasted it.
Yeah, no, they were so. I mean, I can count about 3 or 4 occasions where the keeper just kicked the ball straight into our midfield, and we just picked up and run with it, which is unlike us to get. We struggled with the second ball, didn't I? Getting the first ball, not many times.
Yeah, yeah.
But they were just so sloppy. They just gave it away at will at times, and yeah, I think the fitness levels is going to really take its toll, particularly in the new year. I mean, it's starting to show signs of cracking now. Another thing I noticed is that at one stage early in the second half, that the Leeds kind of options were so poor that I saw Bielsa squat down, and when he didn't even have a bucket underneath him. So where's the bucket gone? No.
Well, one more thing, Rio, before we go over to Gnome for the two managers' post-match interviews. What do you make of this policy of Bielsa's of informing the media of his lineups sort of 48 hours before the match? It's all quite unprecedented, isn't it, really?
No, I mean, you got to take everything what he does with a pinch of salt. I mean, it's another reason I like him. He's a wily old fox, isn't he? And he likes to play mind games. And we saw last year, we mentioned it last week, didn't we? With the shenanigans with Frank Lampard and the Spygate kind of saga.
Yeah.
And I think it's just an extension of that. It's a different tactic for him, isn't it? Instead of saying, oh, yeah, we spying everybody week in, week out, what's the problem? He's now taken another angle. We're going to name our teams 2 days before, play the mind games that way. Yeah,
I think that the question with that is that, you know, some Leeds fans have looked at that and wondered whether or not that's the right path to take. You know, they're sort of saying that you're giving your opponents an extra opportunity to prepare. I just wonder if that, you know, that might come back and backfire for him and come back and kick him in the backside a little bit.
But again, you look at his squad and it's not massive, is it? So it's very much like us. Our first 11 pretty much writes itself. You know he's going to turn up and be playing. Mm-hmm. It's going to take the way that Leeds have started the season, like obviously they've tailed off in the last few weeks. Their first 11 virtually writes itself anyway. So
do you think if they had a bigger squad to choose from, that, you know, he might not play that particular card, might sort of play it differently?
Yeah, he'll be trying everything in the book. Like I said, I think it's just a different angle to work on at the moment.
Okay.
Once he thinks there's something different, he'll go that route.
Well, whatever it was, it certainly played into West Ham's hands tonight. The Hammers coming away with a vital 3 points, rising to 5th in the Premier League table. The managers have spoken. Bielsa was first, followed swiftly by a delighted David Moyes. Gnome, what did the two bosses have to say? Let's start with Bielsa first, as he was out first, speaking via an interpreter.
Yeah, he didn't say an awful lot, and obviously through the interpreter took a long while for him to say it. But the general gist of it was that they'd actually sort of practiced and trained exactly for the match as it happened, knowing how West Ham would play. And he said the game went in terms of tactically how he thought it would go. But at the end of the day, he said West Ham was superior, which is a fair comment. And anyway, that was really all he said. There was a few comments on, I always think we deserve more goals than we get, but it was not a particularly enlightening few minutes. David Moyes, well, you said delighted.
Sorry, no. Just quickly before we come on to David Moyes, was there any mention of the set pieces, the fact that Leeds conceded both goals from set pieces?
They talked about set pieces, and he said, yes, we concede to them, but we do work on them, and but we also work on other parts of the game as well. He didn't want to overemphasize the set piece issue. I guess what he was aiming to say was, excuse me, that if they tighten up in certain areas, then the set pieces from which teams score won't occur in the first place. So, whilst the interviewer was trying to raise that as a major point, he was trying to play it down.
Okay. Thank you. So, Davey Moyes, of course, has been on as well. No doubt, slightly happier.
Well, you described him as delighted. I don't think I've ever seen a manager look more angry at a win.
Okay.
Not because of anything, but I think he was angry at the interviewer because the interviewer's first questions were all about VAR and penalties, and he did not want to talk about that. And then in the end, he actually said, "Look, you guys are going to talk. We've come here, we've won away, and you guys are going to talk about VAR." He said, "I think you'd be better off asking me about the game," and which is a fair point. We've gone up there and won 2-1 away from home, and all they want to talk about is VAR. He didn't want to talk about it. He said maybe if some more influential managers, I don't know who that was aimed at, were start saying things, then maybe things would improve. But I'd rather not talk about VAR. Let's talk about the game. So he was asked about Haller, and he said he thought Haller. The question was, Haller did everything but score today, and he paused. He says, "I thought Haller should have scored today, but he said I thought their goalkeeper had a fine game, and to keep Haller out at times." He was then asked about Ben Rama, and he said he did have he paused for thought before answering, thinking interestingly, and he said that he was pleased with a lot of what Ben Rama did, but he said there were a number of occasions where Mr. Moyes thought that he should have played passes and played people in rather than taking shots on. He was asked about where we were at the moment and how he felt about that. He said, "Well, we're not getting carried away, and it is a good start, and I'm pleased with that. But this squad, there are times I think they can do better." So I think the tone of the questioning when it first went straight onto VAR and the penalty, I think that annoyed him, and that set the tone for the rest of the interview. I think overall he seemed quite happy with the win. You've got to be 2-1 away at Leeds.
Yeah.
And so he didn't smile even at the end of the interview. He just said thank you very much and walked off. So it was an interesting interview. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Well, David Moyes might not want to talk about VAR, Gnome, but we're going to talk about VAR because, and you actually raised this point during the game. Now, the penalty, let's talk about the penalty incident, which was really the only controversial, contentious issue of the evening, I think, as far as VAR was concerned. Now, we saw Fabianski pull off what was, a fairly routine save, let's be honest, from the first penalty. But I don't think any of us were really complaining when the spot kick was ordered to be retaken because he was off his line, and you know, he was off his line, and you know that they're pretty tight on that. But no, you made this point, the retaken penalty that was scored by Leeds, and you pointed out Patrick Bamford was at least 3 yards inside the box. I mean, you can see it. You've got the 3 6-yard lines, and he was halfway between the first 6-yard line when the penalty was taken. And why, if the penalty was ordered to be retaken because Fabianski was off of his line, was it not ordered to be retaken again because Bamford was in the box? Now, there is a precedence for this because do you remember the opening game of last season? West Ham, Man City, Declan Rice in the penalty area, encroached, I believe is the correct term. And I think Sterling possibly missed and it was ordered to be retaken. Where's the consistency? Why are we still not getting that? And why are VAR giving one decision but not the other?
Basically, the last question, I think, covers absolutely everything in what you've just asked. The last question is, why is VAR giving one thing and not the other? The answer to that is that our referees aren't good enough. They're not consistent enough.
But this is not a referee's decision, is it? No, this is a VAR. We're talking about.
Yeah, but you've got the same guys. You've got
Yeah.
the same group of people. One's sitting in a bunker, one's on the pitch. The fact that one is in the bunker doesn't make him any better. It means he's got more resources, which he ought to be able to use. But if he's not a good ref, he's not going to spot it. You know, these referees are poor. The reason that they're poor is that they don't have to be any better because there's no pressure on them to improve. You can have week after week of poor performance. The assessing is generous to them to a fault. I mean, you know, you can't tell me that honest levels of assessing would have let Mike Dean get away for the last 15 years. Oliver, we're now seeing in the same sort of thing. You know, it's referees don't have to be any good because they're not going to get. You're not going to see Mike Dean will retire before he's demoted. Yeah. You know.
But I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't buy the point that it's just because they're all incompetent. I mean, there's a deeper issue here, I think, and you know, clearly both penalties should have been retaken. Yeah. And I just find it unfathomable. I just can't figure out why, you know, one was given and one wasn't. I mean, and yet again, West Ham, you know, we've had a result. We had a result against Villa with VAR, even though it was a correct decision, but we've been done again 2 weeks in a row, 2 matches in a row. Manchester United last week, you know, VAR ruled against or didn't rule against us, but didn't rule in our favour when the ball had clearly crossed the line for a throw-in, going back to your comment about the pitch being moved a yard over. And yet again today, you know, it should have been, the penalty should have been reordered to be retaken.
Yeah. This
isn't VAR, though. The problem isn't VAR, is it? It's the people who are in control of the system that are at fault.
If you've got somebody who's not very good at their job on the pitch, why should we suddenly expect them to be any better in a bunker? If they can't spot things like that when they're on the pitch 2 yards away from it, you know, why would it occur to them? Yeah, that's what I've said all the time. It's just moving the problem, you know, from that case, 200 miles south to a bunker in West London. They're not very good referees. It really is simple as that. VAR could work if you only had somebody competent working it. You know, it would stop some of the worst excesses of certain referees going on, because you know it's harder to justify because you've seen the replay, you've seen, there's a whole string of things. I mean, it depends what the issue you're looking at. We've got diving now, happens left, right, and centre because nobody wants to actually apply the laws of the game as they're written. We've got into this, if there's contact, it must be a penalty thing, which is totally contrary to both what's written and the spirit of the laws of the game. But because it's one of these things that's been so repeated so many times as justification for certain players, it's now referees now actually sort of take this law. They shouldn't do. That's the laws of the game. Read them, you know. Encroachment. That's the laws of the game. Why don't you do it? Diving. We've seen. I mean, Connor Cody earlier on this week was the Monday, was it? Whenever it was, when Liverpool
Yep.
beat Wolves. Now he's dived in the box, and quite apart from the right irony of 2,000 Scousers shouting cheap when there's a dive, which is ultimate in irony there. The end of the day, the VAR's looked at it and they've looked at it and they've seen his dive. So, correct decision. He's dived. Where's the yellow card? He's tried to gain advantage by simulation.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow card. Does he get the yellow card? No. How many times do we see players go down, the referee go and get up? Well, stop the game, book him.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's hold that one for a moment, because we're sort of veering off.
Yeah, sure.
The point is, and I think some people are making the point rightly in the YouTube chat, that we have won tonight and we should be celebrating that. But I just want to quickly gauge the views of the rest of the team here. Pinky Gnome says VAR could work. It's just being controlled by referees who aren't very good at their jobs. What's your view, sort of reasonably quickly, on that?
I'm not a fan of VAR generally, but if I draw a parallel with another sport, cricket, on LBW decisions, when they go to Hawkeye, whatever they call the system, they check for 3 specific things in the same sequence every time. Was the bowler's foot over the line? Did the ball pitch outside the off stump? And was the ball going to hit the stumps after its bounce? Now, there's basically what I'm saying, there's a system. If you just had that for penalties, just put one stake in the ground and say, this is what you're going to check for in Stockley Park if you are looking at a penalty kick. Firstly, you are going to check, was the keeper off his line? Yes or no? Was there encroachment into the box? Yes or no? And did the player who took the spot kick the ball twice, which we've seen on occasion? Yes or no? So even if you just said those are the 3 specific things we would check for to validate a penalty kick in the same sequence every time, you can bottom that one out in 10 seconds of just organisation.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if for a number of the things that they're reviewing, they just want to take a step back and say, what are we trying to achieve here? So if we're checking an offside, what are we doing? And even if they did something like, you have to be able to make the call within 15 seconds. Again, in cricket, the clock goes on when the captain has the choice whether he wants to use the DRS system. The clock goes on there. He's got, I think, 6 seconds or something like that to decide whether or not to do it. Why can't they time limit the amount of time they're looking at some of these decisions and say, if it's clear and obvious, you should be able to see it straight away.
Yeah.
If you're having to get a slide rule and protractor out, it isn't clear, it isn't obvious, go with the ref's decision and get on with the game.
So you pretty much, that essentially you're advocating the same system there that is used in cricket, unless it's a very obvious error, they go with your initial decision.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. I totally agree, for what it's worth. I absolutely agree. Rio, quickly, sorry, coming to you last on this issue, but VAR, clearly, both penalties should have been retaken. Only one was. Where do we go from here? And what's the solution?
Well, for me, I'd scrap the whole thing. Yeah, there's no place in football. Football's a game of human error. We're trying to make it too clinical, too perfect. As we've seen tonight, the first penalty retaken, fair enough. I don't agree with it, but yeah, fair enough. The second one should have been retaken. Where do you stop? Because players are going to naturally run in after the ball, and you could be there all night just taking one bloody penalty because people refuse to not encroach.
But do you not feel, though, that if those rules were in place, that players might perhaps be a little bit more careful about doing that? If they're not going to get penalised for encroaching, where's the incentive not to encroach? I guess that's the point.
Yeah, no, I just think it's not football for me. It's ruining the game. It's not assisting it. It's not making it better.
Yeah.
It's taking away all human nature.
Okay. Well, what about Pinky's suggestion, Rio? Sorry, I was just going to say, what do you think about Pinky's suggestion of perhaps adding a time limit to VAR decisions. So, you know, unless it's they've ascertained whether it should be, you know, ruled out or not within, say, 15, 20 seconds, that they have to go with the original decision. Do you think that might possibly work? Or do you think perhaps that
In
might even
theory,
lead to
yes,
more errors
but-
because they're under pressure to make a decision?
Yeah, exactly. And you'll get some big decisions, some which are really close to call.
Yeah.
They're going to be overanalyzed and overanalyzed.
Okay.
Where do you call the time limit? If you go 15, 20 seconds and it's something still not clearly, blatantly obvious, it's just going up in another like endless legal debate eventually, isn't it? You know, someone's going to come on the wrong end of a decision, going up in the courts. It isn't football. It's not making the game better for spectators. It's not making the game better for players. I'll tell you how bad it's got today. Even Jurgen Klopp come out and said, I'm not keen on it. You know? And he's getting the benefit of the decisions every week.
Yeah,
virtually.
exactly. I mean, I suppose the one thing we have to consider, really, we can wrap this section up fairly quickly, but, you know, the reason we all wanted VAR introduced or a system like that is because teams of West Ham's stature just weren't getting the rub of the green in those games against the teams at the top end of the table. And you could argue that that's now, you know, we are now, but
No,
the decisions
I don't think we
are being made wrongly for both teams.
I don't think we are, Graham.
I don't think we are either.
Look at Liverpool away. Yeah, Salah's dive. As the letter of the law goes, that simulation, that's a free kick to us. Yellow card for Salah. The idea of a time limit on it is it's a good idea in principle, but in fact, what we're finding now is that they're already not looking at stuff properly. I mean, you know, if they'd taken a few more minutes or a minute or two to look at the ball going out last week, for example, they might eventually have come on, hit on the right thing. So it's not being applied properly. It's people are making exactly the same mistakes on the telly as they are on the ground.
Yeah.
Look at the decisions we're looking at. I mean, you know, Salah penalty. I mean, yeah, really? And you know, VAR. If VAR has said yes, that's a penalty, then they've either not looked at it properly or they've just fallen for this. If there's contact, it's a penalty thing, which it's not the case. And you know, again, we get back to the fact that you know they're refereeing sort of, oh well, yeah, I'm guessing here, sort of thing. We're talking about encroachment, and you said, well, nobody's picking up on encroachment, so and eventually that'll end up being allowed because eventually nobody's actually at the moment picking it up. So you know, you'll see it more and more. It's the law gets changed, you know, not on paper, but it gets changed kind of by osmosis. And it gets changed in a way that will favour. I mean, you know, the contact, there's a penalty. Who's benefited most out of that over the last 20 years?
Well, I mean, I'm guessing that if Klopp's complaining about it, that he must have felt, you know, aggrieved at some point in recent. But anyway, look, we're gonna cut that debate short there because, you know, we could go on for hours, and we probably will at some point about VAR, and no doubt we'll be talking about it pretty much every week between now until the end of the season, and possibly until it's phased out. But there you go. You know, we did win tonight. West Ham have won. We saw Bielsa complain about set pieces, the way his team defended them. Let's talk about West Ham and the way we attack them. Pinky, obviously something we've worked on the training ground. David Moyes has obviously looked at those statistics, seen that Leeds concede 42% of their goals from set pieces. Thomas Souček, Angelo Ogbonna, bang, bang, 3 points. Brilliant stuff by Moyes. Credit to Moyes and the whole coaching team really tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And no team in the top flight has scored more goals from set pieces than ourselves. So I think that's 8 goals from set pieces this season. And you know, so we often ask, what do they do in training all week? Well, there's your answer. And again, I've referenced it before. Moyes is making the best of what he's got. He's not sitting there in the press every week whinging about players he doesn't have or talking about players he wish he had. He's actually saying, this is who I've got, and this is who I'm going to have this week because player X is out injured or player Y is out injured. And he's putting plans together and say, right, if we are really good here at a set piece, we might get a goal. And he's actually recruited some players that can influence that. Thomas Souček being the obvious case. So it's not an accident, it's a plan. And that's good management. Is saying, I've got limited resources, and I know if I can actually get some goals at set pieces, that could make the difference. Things like keeping Aaron Cresswell in the team, who was heavily criticised, a while back, in terms of his delivery into the box week after week from deep positions, is an enormous part of our attacking potential. So again, the manager knows exactly what he's doing tonight. The fact that Cresswell wound me up all night tonight because he had the wrong studs in his boots, I actually put down to the coaching staff rather than the player. But Moyes is looking at what he's got and who is making the difference, and he's building the team around them sensibly and slowly but surely, and without spending all that much money. Moyes has put quite a decent team together for West Ham United, and he would have every right to be, phoning the chairman up on Monday and saying, let's talk about the January transfer kitty. And I just got a feeling that when he does phone the chairman, he probably has to go on a premium number so that the chairman makes money to receive the call. You can just picture that, can't you?
You can.
Moyes has to dial 033, whatever it is, to get through to the chairman. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from Moyes, because he's making the best of what we have, and that's all you can ask the manager to do.
Okay,
good stuff.
Excellent. Yeah, really good points. Rio, do you agree with that from Pinky? I mean, huge credit tonight. Must as I said, must go to Moyes. 2-1 win, both goals coming from set pieces. Obviously, something they've worked hard on, at the training ground, and paying dividends for the labour and the time and effort put in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's hit the nail on the head, really. Souček has. You got to think how bad we've been from set pieces for years and years and years. We've been really awful. Last 18 months, since Moyes took over again, we've been absolutely impeccable. Souček brings an extra aerial dynamic. We've got two or three centre backs who great headers of the ball. We've got in Jared Bowen, who delivers the ball well. Cresswell's delivery this season has been impeccable. You look at that first corner, the first goal, Souček can count himself rather lucky, because that ball was in the right area. And if you look at it again, Declan Rice was in acres of space unmarked. If it had dropped to him, it was a certain goal. Ogbonna wasn't a million miles away. If it had gone to him, certain goal. It's a cleverly well worked pan. And we're exploiting the fruits of our labours. More play to it. It's about time West Ham have been this threatening. We've been waiting a long time to see this kind of dynamic in our team.
We've never really, I mean, I can't recall a time when we've been so threatening from set pieces. Pinky pointed out the statistic, 8 or 9 goals this season from set pieces already, and it's good. It's good to see.
Yeah.
I'm being told, by the way, from other sources that on the encroachment issue, unless the rebound was then played by the player, the refs generally deem it as immaterial. That's why it's not being pulled up. So
yeah, it's not. The laws of the game say if there's encroachment, you've got every right to have it retaken. I mean, quite apart from anything else, you're a goalkeeper. You're 12 yards from the spot. You've got a player there, and you've got something in that eye line there.
Yeah, but I think this is the fundamental issue with VAR, is they're choosing which laws to apply to the letter.
Yeah,
which offside, his toenail is played him onside there. So they're applying the offside rule to the absolute letter of the law. But a ball being kicked out on the touchline, it's clearly gone out. Someone has made the decision. Well, that really wasn't the determining factor in whether or not Manchester United scored a goal. And so what you've actually got are the referees, double guessing what happens next in a phase of play, rather than applying every law consistently and to the letter. So to me, if you're going to call it for offside every single time, you have to do it for every other rule every single time. My argument is I don't think they should be calling it for offside every single time if it has taken them 3 or 4 minutes to actually determine that's the case.
Okay. Well, look, we're going to stop that. No, shh, stop it.
I wasn't going to comment
I can see
on it
you're
at
itching
all.
to come back in on that
I
one.
was about to say, let's move on from that, actually. And
Well, we're going to move on. We're going to move on, and I'm going to come to you, actually, now.
He's only raised that point because he doesn't want us talking about his underwear again. Anyway.
Anyway, I'm going to move on now. I'm going to move on. We're going to talk about, so we're going to come away from VAR. We've done the set pieces.
Set pieces.
Go on then, very quickly, come back to me, because there's a couple of other things I want to touch on before we go, and time's pushing on. So, great stuff. West Ham, 2 goal set pieces. Won us the game tonight.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I'd be a little bit annoyed with, I mean, again, I think it may have been the earlier tone of the interview anyway had been set, but I think he looked a little bit annoyed at the fact that there seems to be this emphasis on the fact that we're scoring goals from set pieces, which implies that we're almost sort of, the Wimbledon side of a few years ago. Yeah, hoof it long into the box and see what happens. Which I think the fact that we're actually converting set pieces does actually cover up the fact that we're creating chances in open play as well, and we're not all about set pieces. I think. I think I mean, it's good that we're converting. Don't get me wrong, but I thought, we're a bit unlucky in front of goal a couple of times today. I mean, for now, I mean, he slightly slipped as he put that one. It came back off the post. Balbuena sort of hit on a goalkeeper who 5 minutes earlier seemed to have jelly in his hand. Suddenly, he developed some bones there. And there were a number of good chances.
Well, actually, on that note, if I can come in there, and I'll allow you to take this one up first of all. Sebastian Haller, I want to have a quick discussion about Haller, because it was a real Jekyll and Hyde performance from the big man tonight, wasn't it? First half, dreadful. Kept giving the ball away, kept making the wrong runs into the wrong areas. Second half, could have had a hat trick. 2 headers. Forced 2 good saves from 2 strong headers within a minute, and then the overhead kick, which was goal bound. So, talk to me about Haller. What's going on here? Is he a great player? Is he a rubbish player, or is he as usually the case, somewhere in the middle?
Worst player they've ever seen. No,
that was Cardiff, wasn't it?
I'm not having that in any stretch of the imagination.
So what did you make of his performance tonight then, Gnome? Were you pleased with what he did?
When we play the ball up to him, when he's got his back to goal, we need it to stick. We need him to control it. We need him to lay it off and turn and go.
Yeah.
It happened as the game wore on. That actually happened, but far too often in the first half, his touch would let him down. I made the old joke about trapping a ball further than I could kick it. That happened. I mean, the penalty came from one such incident where we were caught going forward and it didn't stick. And next thing we know, we're talking VAR again. But don't worry, I won't bring it up. But the second half, there were a number of occasions when it was played to him and it stuck. He held off the guy behind him. He would look up and invariably, because he tend to play slightly left of centre when the ball was coming to him, he would look up and he would spray it out to the right-hand side. Usually Fornells or a number of times they were in space. Fornells or Bowen were in space on that side of things, and that was the good thing. The good thing was that he kept plugging away, and after the first half where it wasn't very good, it would have been the easiest thing in the world for him to sort of just try and hide and all that, but he didn't, and he actually sort of grew into the game and got better. The worrying thing for me is not Haller himself, but let's consider a situation where he didn't get better, he got worse in the second half. Where was the replacement? That's the worrying thing. So it's good that he improved, and I don't want to see any West Ham player not doing well. And I was glad that he improved, and that overhead kick, I'd have given anything for that to have gone in. And he had he had a header tipped over again. It was on target. It was causing problems.
Yep.
I want to see him playing well. I'd like to see him play like he did in the last 10 minutes in the rest of the game.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So it was very much a curate's egg.
Yeah. It's a good answer. Pinky, what did you make? I mean, Gnome's raised some points there, but what did you make of Hilaire's performance tonight? You know, I sort of described it as a Jekyll and Hyde performance. Gnome says it was a bit of a curate's egg. What did you make of it tonight? Because he was getting, Rio was keeping an eye on the match thread on the KUMB forum for us, as he does, and Hilaire was getting absolute pelters in the first half, wasn't he? But as we said, he could have feasibly had a hat trick in the second half. Should he have had a hat trick, or was it, should he have taken those chances, or, was it just a question of the keeper sort of was too good today? And how do you really assess his performance tonight? Because I'm struggling a bit, I've got to say.
Well, on the plus side, he was in a position to at least where he could or should have scored 3 or 4 times. So he was getting in the right parts of the pitch at the right time.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he should have had at least a couple of goals tonight. My concern with him is his lack of physicality, and almost to the point I've been sat here thinking about, what would it take to make Seb Haller angry? When he goes on the pitch at the start and he's got a bit of attitude about him. And I'm thinking, could we show him a video just before kickoff of his wife getting chatted up by 2 or 3 teammates, in nightclubs, and just say, you know why Issa Diop's not here tonight? Because he's taking your missus out for dinner while you're having to run around a freezing cold Ellen Road. That kind of thing, just to get him pumped up a little bit.
Just to elicit a reaction, yeah.
Yeah, we saw parts of it tonight. When people start getting stuck into him a bit, that's kind of like jostle back a touch. But it only lasts a brief, couple of seconds. Then he goes back to, it's almost as if he smoked the Camberwell carrot before kickoff. He's so laid back, and it's kind of like, show us your elbows. Give us a touch of the old Dennis Bergkamp routine. Yeah, have your elbows up and about, and have some of that, son. We don't see it from Seb Haller, and I'd just like him to be a bit more physical. And again, where I'm Moyes, I might be putting specific training ground routines together where he's got to get in and battle against some of the big boys and say, there you go, have a bruise.
Yeah.
Go home and show your wife you've had a bruise. Yeah, because I think there's something in there that is worth persevering with.
Yeah.
I really do. But he has to learn how to cope with the physicality of English football, because that's the job. That is the job.
And the fact is, of course, he's been here for 18 months now. So it makes you wonder if he hasn't managed to deal with it by now. Is it just something that he's not capable of doing?
Well, I mean, he's probably going to go on the team bus tonight, muttering, "Do none of my teammates find my wife attractive?" He's probably going to get upset that none of them are actually taking her out. I mean, that could be it. But the much missed Raz from the forum once gave a description of Matt Jarvis, who had a very similar kind of demeanour about him, which, because this is a family show, I can't actually repeat what it was. But perhaps when we finish, I'll let you guys know. But okay. What does it take to get Seb Haller pumped up, physically involved in the game? Because the fact that he's actually getting in the right positions to score tells me he's got something about him. But we're at the stage now where he does need to actually start putting the ball in the net occasionally. And, if he'd been a £10 million striker, we would be upset. Club record signing, I think we've got a right to say we need more from him. And it's that simple.
Okay. Good stuff. Rio, the guys have been saying there that, to his credit, he's getting in the right positions, he's creating the opportunities, but whether it's the finishing that's letting him down, or his attitude, or even perhaps his ability, something's not quite ticking at points. But this thing, Pinky's mentioned it there about the price tag. Do you think that if he was a £10 million player, that he'd be getting a lot more room for manoeuvre from the supporters. You think, it is because of the price tag that he's getting so much stick.
Yeah, I think that plays a huge part.
Okay.
I mean, some of the criticism I read today as I was looking at the forum while the game was on, there was criticising for a couple of the attempts at goal today. Now, in the first half, he got blocked by one of the Leeds defenders. The second half, before he had the header, again, he turned brilliantly, put a shot on target. There's two exceptional pieces of defending. If that happened from our point of view, we'd be all over our defenders going, that was magnificent, getting in the foot in the right time. But because Seb hasn't hit the target, he's still getting pelters. And that price tag is a huge millstone around his neck. And yeah, rightly so. We spent a lot of money on him. You expect better, but his efforts at goal today weren't the problem. The problem was in the first half, his touch was pretty abysmal.
Yeah.
After the second half, he really did grow in the game a lot more. Some exceptional touches, played the ball in nicely. He was let down on a couple of occasions by his teammates just checking their runs and not carrying on with them. It makes him look silly at times. Yes, he needs a bit of fire in his belly. Yes, he needs to sharpen up with his approach play and the way he holds the ball up. But today, he could have had an absolute stinger of the first half and still come away with a hat-trick. No?
Yeah.
There's a player there. There is a player there. But we're not playing. And again, someone put on the forum as well, remarking about how close his teammates are to him. And there was a huge distance at times. And when you've got 3 or 4 Leeds defenders swarming around you, you can't perform at your best. You can't always feed people in because you just haven't got the support there. He does a lot of things right.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously does a few things wrong at times, but he's getting, I think, undue criticism from our support.
Okay. I mean, let's forget the price tag for a minute. I mean, the point is that he is still only the team's 4th highest goal scorer in the Premier League anyway. I mean, he did score 4 goals in the Carabao Cup, but I think that was against Hull and Charlton possibly. So we'll exclude those goals for now. But, when it counts, I mean, he's got 2 Premier League goals. I think Bowen and Souček have got 3. Antonio's leading with 4. But, price tag aside, shouldn't we, be expecting a little bit more from him in the Premier League? I mean, I know he's not played every game, but we're 12 games in, and to only have 2 to his name is, probably a little bit under par, really, for a top-class striker.
Yeah, but he's only started 3 or 4 games, isn't it? 4 or 5 games now.
Yeah, that's the point, isn't it? Yeah, that's the
2
point.
in 5 isn't shabby in today's age. When's the last time we had a player play all season at that ratio? That earn you like 10 goals a season.
Yeah, but I think
10 goal a season strikers.
No, this is true. I guess the point I'm sort of there is that why isn't he forcing himself into David Moyes' plans as a first team player? Why is, I mean, Antonio's played very well. Let's you can't discount that. But Haller was brought in as the first choice striker. He was given the opportunity, and he's not made the most of it. And he's a bench player when everybody's fit now, and that just doesn't seem right for a player of that caliber.
Yeah, I think it's just the way Moyes set up. That he likes the physicality of Antonio. When Antonio's fit and firing, he's all action, isn't he? He occupies defenders.
And then, of course, Moyes didn't buy him. We've got to make that point.
Yeah. He can work a defence on his own, Antonio. Seb clearly needs someone closer to him for him to feed off and interact with. And we just don't play that system. He's the wrong player at the wrong club at the wrong time, If you had someone playing alongside him, week in, week out, to develop a partnership with, as he did at Eintracht with Jovic, That's why we bought him. We just bought him without buying his partner as well, or having someone that ilk to play alongside him to fit the system. He's a decent player. He's just not playing at the right club.
Okay. Well, let's hope it picks up. I mean, as we said, he had a much better second half this evening than first half, and was unlucky. Could have grabbed a couple of goals, but just didn't really work out for him. But it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be one of those discussions we're going to be having all season. But let's hope he can continue to. I mean, of course, he scored the best goal of the month last month. That I forget who it was against now. Sheffield United, wasn't it? The goal of the month from the edge of the box. So, we know he can do it. Even though that was, I think, as we remarked at the time, he's the first goal he's ever scored in his career from outside the penalty box. But anyway, Sebastian Haller, the debate will rage on and on and on. I kind of feel he's a bit like the Andy Impey of the team at the moment, the fall guy who, will always take a little bit of criticism. But we hope he comes good. We're rapidly coming to the end of tonight's stream. Thank God, I hear most of you cry out there.
And most of us,
and most of us who are visibly fading as we approach the final hour of the day. One more subject, one more thing I'd like to wrap up with, and that is, of course, the subject we always talk about right at the end of every live stream, and that's our forthcoming opponent. And our forthcoming opponent, we've got to wait a few days now, but it's Crystal Palace, back in Stratford. No. Great chance, another great chance for the Hammers to push on and grab another vital 3 points, you'd think.
Yeah, I'd hope so. Not a great lover of that particular club, and it would cheer me up no end to see us prevail over them. So, you want a prediction? Or are you going to save that for Wednesday?
No, let's save that till next week. Of course, the games are coming thick and fast now, aren't they? But Palace's away record, Gnome, is a bit of a strange one this season. They've played 6 games away from Selhurst Park, and they've won 3 and lost 3. No draws away from home yet. But again, we've talked about Sebastian Haller being a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde. You could say that about Palace and their away form this season.
Yeah. They're not the most adventurous of clubs generally, are they? Going forward, from what I've seen of them this year, it's it's not been it's not Hodgson's way, really, is it? I think. Excuse me. We ought to have too much for them, but it's a case of let's make sure we turn up and again play our game and not let them play theirs. So they're an odd side. They're an odd side. They'll meander along, usually sort of getting away with stuff because there are usually 3 or 4 teams that are worse than them, but they never really make much impact. They're kind of just there, and I mean that in terms of both their being sort of in the league and as a club in general. It's they're kind of just there. It's and it's full of people, full of supporters doing things that they think football clubs do because that's what they've seen on the telly.
It doesn't sound like you're a fan of the Palace to me.
No, I used to live in Croydon, so I just remember that the year they made the cup final. And suddenly people who hitherto had expressed no interest or even knowledge of the existence of association football suddenly sort of turned up. I was working in Croydon at the time, and you saw people walking around and sort of saying, "Oh, I hope I'm going to go for a ticket and see if I can get one." And there were people who probably wouldn't even know where Selhurst Park was. We're getting suddenly sort of, I've got a ticket for the game. You just thought, do you want a map for Wembley?
Yeah. Yes, they are very much a team like that, aren't they? That kind of. But then again, you say that, talk about teams that make up the numbers. I suppose you could say West Ham have been a little bit like that in recent years, haven't we?
There's something about us, though, isn't there? I mean,
well, you'd like to think so.
There's a bit of proper history. I mean, we didn't make up our own nickname. We didn't sort of suddenly turn around and announce one year that we were going to be called the Eagles, which is what they did, when they were the Glaziers. And, historically, what do West Ham play in? Claret and blue, or if you've got an old photograph, perhaps pink. But
salmon.
Yeah, salmon, whatever it is. But Crystal Palace played in claret and blue when I was a kid.
I was going to say that. The colours changed, didn't they?
Then it was
70s.
white, and then they sort of had this thing. We'll have this white with the thing going across there, and then it was one
That's
going
it.
down there. And it's
Was that not a claret and blue?
Yeah,
Was it red and blue or claret and blue?
Yeah, 1 year. Well, they started up. They had claret shirts when I first started to go. When I was first starting to go to watch football, they had claret shirts which kind of had a thin light blue stripe going down, and then they changed to a sort of pseudo Ajax thing, which was a white shirt with a claret and a blue stripe going down the middle, a little bit like
That's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
And then they went to white with a red and blue sash thing across there. To be fair, they have stuck to red and blue stripes all for a good few years now. I mean, but but it's
there you go.
Up. No real traditions, only habits.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. As you can see, fellow Hammers, no fan at all of Crystal Palace or their plethora of different kits over the years. But Pinky, Crystal Palace, Chet Chiarti, James Tompkins, Wilfried Zaha, Roy Hodgson, 3 points, surely.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a fan of Roy Hodgson, but when you've been managing football teams as long as he has, and he's always in work, he knows a thing or two about how not to lose. So he ain't going to be conceding 2 goals from set pieces next week. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whilst Bielsa gets all the plaudits for his nice, attractive attacking football, Roy Hodgson's been managing for 45, 50 years or whatever, however long he's been doing it. Not for his attacking football, but the fact that actually he can organise a team. And I remember once when he was at Fulham, I think it was, they went a player down relatively early in the game at our place, and he made absolutely certain that we were not going to get an easy soft goal against them. So Hodgson will be well organised, his team will be well organised. I'd say it's the classic game where 1 goal will win it. Hopefully it'll be to us. But they've had a reasonable start this season, Palace, by their standards. So I think it'll be a much tougher game than what we've had this evening, that's for sure. And the trick, of course, is to keep Zaha out of the box because there is a touch of the Salah about him.
Yeah, they're another one of those teams, Pinky, aren't they? Sorry, that rely heavily on that one player. Like Villa with Grealish and even Manchester United to the degree with Bruno Fernandes, as we found out last week. So much emphasis is placed on Zaha.
Yeah, and players that can make a difference. That's really what we're talking about, is the players that can make a difference. And dare I say it, Liverpool in the 70s used to depend an awful lot on Kenny Dalglish. Before that, Kevin Keegan. And if you've got a player that can make a difference, worth their weight in gold. Absolutely worth their weight in gold. So for Palace, it's Zaha. And somehow they ended up with Benteke. He scores twice last week, which is more than he did all of last season. Kind of thing. So, and it's a gamble because he's a player that Liverpool Football Club once paid a very big fee for.
Yeah.
So it isn't a case of one manager's just made a bad decision. A manager of a very, very famous football club has said, we're going to have him as our main guy. And then they realised, we're bought a dud and we move him on. Of course, they never did the same trick with us with Andy Carroll much, did they? But, Hodgson, I don't like him, but he knows the job. And if I was a betting man, I'd be saying 1 goal in it next week, hopefully to us. But Palace will come for the point. Be in no doubt about that. They're coming for the point. And we've spoke about Ben Rama earlier tonight. And maybe he's the player that can make a difference. Well, he'll have no better opportunity than next week. That's for sure.
Okay. Excellent stuff. Rio, finally, on Crystal Palace, our next Premier League fixture. Piggy's absolutely right. This is a game that I think a lot of West Ham supporters look at and think Crystal Palace, 3 easy points, simple, easy home game. Yet if you look at our record against the Eagles stroke Glaziers since promotion, since we came back into the Premier League, we've played them 8 times at home at the Bowling Ground and the Olympic Stadium, and we've only beaten them twice. We've also drawn 3 times and been beaten on 3 occasions. I think we lost last season, didn't we? I think it was 2-1. We went down last year. So, it's one of those, I think on paper, there's a few teams like that. I think I'll probably put them in the same category as, say, Brighton, where you look at it on paper, you think, when you look at the fixture list at the beginning of the season and you're looking for the teams where you're going to beat and pick up points, it's one of those, isn't it? It's like Brighton, yes, West Brom, yes, maybe Newcastle, Palace. Really turns out to be that way. Do you worry about this game?
Yeah, because the onus is on us to break them down and go for it. It's not like Man United, it's not like Man City, where we can sit back and hit on the counter attack. I mean, today we dominated the game. Really, we only 36% possession.
Yeah,
we're going to expect to have a lot more of the ball on Wednesday night. Go at them and break them down. They're going to just sit back and try and do as we did tonight, soak up the pressure and hit us on the counter. So that's the issue that I have, and that's my massive fear. That have we got the players there to do that? We know that Tommy Souček, Declan are better at sitting deep, progressing with the ball, and obviously when we go forward from set pieces, they're a threat. So the onus is on Ben Rama if he plays. The onus is on Fornells to try and work their magic and create chances. So yeah, that's why I think we're going to struggle a little bit, possibly. Okay. Could be a bit like after Lord Mayor show kind of scenario. Yeah. I'd also like to point out, I detest Palace probably more than Gnome does.
Okay.
A lot of the reasons he actually stated. I mean, they're a fake club, aren't they? They changed their persona at will. They changed their nickname. Whoa. With them and bloody Brighton, because our nickname's the Seagulls, your nickname's Eagles. Oh, that's it. Let's have a rivalry. Sort of. And it's the worst ground in London as well. Right? It's not named a Terry Waite stand for no reason. It is awful. Yeah, it is rank. It is the worst ground in London.
And just on that
the only good thing about it is that the overground now gets you out of that hellhole quicker than you used to be able to. Only good thing about the place. Burn it to the ground.
Pinky, God, you've got to come in there quickly.
Yeah, just on the safety down there. I kicked up a bit of a fuss with Crystal Palace when we played down there a couple of seasons back. I actually left the game early because I felt unsafe in the stand, and it's the reply I had from Palace and from the council, who of course would be responsible for the issue of the safety certificate, were masterpieces in not answering the specific allegations I was making. And funnily enough, 3 days after I'd sent them the letter, Croydon Council put up a brand new safety certificate on their website, Sellers Park, which of course, the one that had been up before then had expired some time beforehand, like 1.5 years previously. And I would contend at the time we played them that season, they did not have a valid safety certificate in place. So from a regulatory
when was this?
This was, I think, two seasons ago. I've got the paperwork lying around. We had a thread on KUMB, and there was a clear gap where, and if you read the correspondence from them, they were very careful not to answer the specific question I asked about, was there a valid safety certificate on the date of the game? And just hilariously, 3 days later, a new safety certificate appears. And I wrote to Cressida Dick, the chairman of Palace and the boss of the council and all the rest of it, and said, between you three, you're responsible for the safety of supporters in that stand. And there's a whole range of protocols they're supposed to go to in that stand. Yeah. And there's things like when you go through the gates at Sellers Park, they've got like a catering facilities there as you go through. There's a very specific rate at which you have to be able to get through turnstiles at football grounds to be, part of to count as being safe. And you can't do it there because of the way the concourse and that T area is configured. And that's one of many problems I've got there. And
There's a lot.
It's a dodgy ground, being no doubt about it.
Yes.
And had I the time, I'd have pursued it a bit stronger. Let's put it that way. But if you think Gnome hates Palace, you think Rio hates Palace. I really hate Palace. I really do. It's a pain in the arse to get to. It's a crap stand that we're always put in. Yeah, they're pathetic supporters with all their fake ultra nonsense and all the rest of it. What was it? The team of the '80s they were going to be? Was it Terry Venables?
Was it? Terry Venables was there.
Yeah. Patsy Eagle and all.
Yeah, undoubtedly the worst club in London, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And Tottenham.
I'm not too against Tottenham. I've got to be honest with you. I mean,
here we go.
So we've got darker supporters.
I'm not. Seriously, when we were all children, there wasn't this great thing with West Ham and Tottenham. But there really wasn't. It's a Sky era thing. Yeah.
So sum up this evening. Graham's got a Leeds shirt. Pinky wears women's underwear and has a secret liking for Tottenham. We're all getting the confessions out tonight, aren't we?
Had. I was about 7 at the time. Come on. It was a long time ago. Anyway, so look, there you go. Crystal Palace, crap football team, crap health and safety policy. You heard it here first. That's it. I could go on. I could ask some more questions, but look, time's pushing on. Pinky's yawning. Gnome's sinking into his sofa, and I think Rio's actually asleep there. But I'm not sure.
At least I've got a sofa.
All right. Yeah. Well, don't start that. Tuesday, by the way, for the record, Tuesday. So we're told. But I shall update you of Sofagate on our next broadcast next week. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Crystal Palace next. Until then, of course, it has ended tonight at Ellen Road. Leeds United 1, West Ham United 2. The Hammers powering back into the top 5 of the Premier League. All right, it might only be for a few hours, but hey, let's enjoy it while we can. And we probably deserve it after last season and the hellish season we had and everything we went through. My thanks tonight for providing the commentary and keeping you all amused. Go to Rio, to the absent-minded Pink Palermo, and also to Gnome. Thank you, gentlemen, once again for your excellent company and opinions. Also to everybody who's joined us on the live stream throughout the evening. Quite busy out there tonight. Lots of comments. As I always say, we love to read your comments and feed off those. So thank you for keeping us company and keeping us busy. As I said, West Ham up to 5th in the table. It's another away win. It's a quite remarkable and extraordinary season so far. Crystal Palace next. Let's have another 3 points. Come on, you Irons.